Hey, we have a fun live tonight. We're going to be talking about our relationship with food, a big, deep topic. We're going to have my friend Raw Vegan Ginger on, so we're going to talk about that. She has such a cool mindset around relationships with food, so I wanted to have her on and just chat about it because it is an incredibly important topic. But yeah, here's my new hair for those of you who saw that I had my hair done. Got some highlights, and I also had some balayage done as well. So a little new hairstyle for my birthday tomorrow. Oh, Ginger's here. Hello, Ginger. Okay, we're gonna let her in here. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm excited. Here we go. Oh!
Hey!
Hey!
Looking beautiful.
You too. Look at that. Look at those straight goddess locks. Yeah, we've got the hair going
I
on.
love it.
Isn't
So
it cool?
Tomorrow's the big day, huh?
Yeah, I'll be 42.
Woo!
42. The big 42. I've been saying I'm like something new for 42.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yes, girl, Sagittarius.
Yes,
Bring the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess my hair got a little coppery fire in there too.
I like it. I like it. It's fun to change it up.
Yeah, channeling a little Ginger going on.
Get a little, love it. Yay.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. We talk all the time. I just felt, hey, wouldn't it be interesting for people to hear our conversations,
Exactly what we chat about. Our chats are important. It's a very important topic, and I feel it's like totally not addressed by hardly anybody. I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm just
yeah. So very important. We're all in this community, right? We're all dealing with similar things. So yeah, I think we're onto something good here, and it's fun to dig deeper to find the truth, because that's what we like to do, right?
Yeah, and the reason why most people come to a raw food diet or start to eat healthier is because they're digging, looking for the truth, right? But while you're digging, sometimes there's some landmines that you're trying to find it, but yeah, you go or you find a rabbit hole that takes you to some interesting place, and it takes you time to get back and to recoup and find that relationship again with food, because we are, for the most part, I would say the majority of us have deep issues with it.
Yes, and we all do. Nobody is perfect in this way. We're all, digging deep, finding truth, what works for us, and over time it changes too, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, really interesting stuff here.
I like what you said, how there's nothing wrong with changing, because I feel like when somebody starts to do one thing, and if they don't do it for the rest of their life, somehow it's bad, or they're bad, or they did it wrong, or whatever. And yes, obviously there's ways to do things that aren't ideal, but to change out of that, the people who believe in whatever that was tend to feel hurt because someone left or someone changed their idea or whatever, and they feel like their choice is right. So
yes yeah. I think that has to do with the identity. A lot of us, hey, me included too, we create these names: Raw Vegan Ginger, Raw Food Romance. It's our online identity. So it's hard not to be caught up in that identity, right? Because we have a online persona, and then we have a real life persona. Hopefully those two are a little similar, right? there's some different perspectives there too, but yeah, we definitely want to keep it raw and real too, right? Because we do get caught up in these online personas, identity with diet and how we eat, and we want to connect with other people that do the same thing because we want to feel connected. At the end of the day, we just want to feel part of something and not alone, and on this journey of whether it's raw foods, veganism, and all that stuff. Hey, we're the minority, right? So we want to find our people, and we want to connect, and we want to feel connected and involved,
Oh yeah, totally. And I feel like people, they get into some, hold on a second. I just gotta, somebody said something in the chat that doesn't belong there.
Ooh,
So,
what? Wow. I'm not even looking at these.
oh really? Yeah, I just saw it. And
Ooh,
I
I
was like,
saw
okay.
it.
See,
Hey.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, you get the people, they don't want to somehow sometimes face these
Yes.
things because, like you said, it is our identity,
Yes.
and we don't want to say that we are bad because we're changing,
Mm-hmm.
or we're bad because we're doing this. And I actually wrote down, I was thinking of a video earlier to do today, or yeah, eventually, is that like if somebody feels like they're getting sick or their body is changing or say they gain a little weight or whatever, immediately people say, oh, well, see, the raw diet isn't perfect, or well,
Yeah.
see, you're vegan and that's not good, or we'll see, like what you're doing is wrong, right? And then immediately you feel like you're wrong or
Mm-hmm.
you're doing something wrong when, you know, our bodies change and things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to accept ourselves where we are and observe what's going around and observe our
Mm-hmm.
body from a
Mm-hmm.
logical stance without tying our identity and emotions into it.
Yes. Or our worthiness, our worthiness. A lot of people get
Yes.
caught up in that, you know, and people, women mostly too, we experience these changes over time. And sometimes it's okay to grieve your past body because things change over time. We make choices, we make mistakes. I have made plenty of mistakes living this way, right? You know, things that I regret, but then looking back, well, I don't regret them because I've learned so much in that process too. And hey, there's nothing wrong with this change, but really our worthiness at the end of the day has nothing to do with what we're eating, you know, at the
Oh
end
yeah.
of the day.
Exactly. And like you said earlier, like it's raw vegan ginger and raw food romance and raw food this and raw food that. And yeah, we eat raw food and we love raw food and we want people to eat more raw food and
Mm-hmm.
make these positive choices, but to make them because they love themselves wherever they're at.
Yes.
To make
Yes.
them because they just enjoy raw food. Like it's not hard, right? If you love raw food, eat raw food.
Yeah.
Don't do it
Simple.
because you're scared of cooked. And don't do it because
Yes.
you're scared if you don't, you won't heal. And don't do it from that state because that's where the relationship is broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's from a fear state. It's from like, oh, if I
Mm-hmm.
don't do this, and a lot of people too, and you know, not me included. I guess we all have our reasons. Everybody's got their reasons, but you and I get very similar messages every single day. Sometimes the same messages.
That's true.
Hey guys, we talk. Come on. Very interesting. Copy paste. But still, a lot of desperate people, they want, you know, they're desperate for healing. I'm struggling. I fell off the wagon, whatever it is. And they really want something that will change their life. And it can, absolutely. But what's the underlying reason that you want to go raw or eat a certain way, whatever it is? If it's fear, if it's coming from a place of fear, or I need to lose weight and that's my focus, that may not be beneficial. You know, maybe just dabble in it a little bit without just diving deep and I need to go, you know, 100% and black and white thinking and all that. That can really land you in trouble because what happens if you fail? You know, how are you going to treat yourself? And at the end of the day, your relationship with yourself is basically equal to the relationship you have with food and everybody else. So that's what we wanted to talk about today because it's huge.
Oh yeah, totally. And like you said before, and I've said this too, it's a person can eat healthy food but still have a very unhealthy relationship with it.
Yep.
You can eat healthy food and be healthy with it, or you can eat unhealthy food and be unhealthy with it, or healthy food and be unhealthy with it. Like it doesn't matter the diet, it doesn't matter the food, it's all your perception around why you're choosing the things that you're choosing. And you made such a good post yesterday, was it?
Yeah.
About the
the
4 things. I wanted you to go over those because those were so good. I love that post so much.
Appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just full of ideas. I know I gotta get those posts out. I'm slacking. I'm behind you, girl. You got like 3 posts every day. I'm just like, oh, 1 post a week. I can't get there. Oh, love this. Yeah, so thank you for that. I've been digging deep lately with this whole diet culture thing, and I've been learning so much over the past couple of years, especially when it comes to my clients and the people that I'm serving here, you know? And wow, it's eye-opening what we got going on here, because I can see a lot of issues within our community too. So diet culture, it's that set of beliefs that values thinness, appearance, and it's kind of the reasoning why some people, not everybody, we're not making generalizations here, but some people come to this way of eating because they really want to transform. They're focused on the visual, how their appearance and all that stuff, and weight loss being one of them. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to lose weight. There's nothing wrong with wanting to, you know, change something about your body. But the reason is, like you and I both said, why? Why is that reason? Of course, people also want to get healthy, but still the underlying why is what's most important. And the issue with this diet culture is the good and the bad, the black and white thinking, like you said, the absolutes. When we get into absolutes with describing food and situations, that can really, you know, land us in trouble just mentally. Because I recently posted, I think a week or two ago, about mental health being more important than physical health. And that challenged me too when I kind of first came to learn that. And a lot of other people challenged me on that too, as far as like, no, well, the physical health and all that. Of course it works together, but still at the end of the day, mental health trumps everything. And
it's just like stress. I mean, mental health and stress, right? All of the emotions and everything. You can be eating the healthiest diet ever, but if you're stressed out and you're feeling bad about yourself and you think these other things and you haven't worked on your mental health, then I mean, the healthy food is great because at least you're not feeling even worse, maybe with inflammation and everything. But you're missing such a big aspect of overall health. And I agree with you. I think mental health is totally not talked about enough, and it's not addressed enough. Like, we can talk all we want, but who's doing the work? Who's changing their mindset? Who's actually doing it? Because it hurts. It's painful. It's painful to release those things that we grew up with.
It's like lifelong work too, you know? It's not like I healed this, because it's like, well, just you wait till, you know, another pandemic or something happens. Of course, external factors are going to happen in our lives, you know? And it's great that you feel like you healed something right here and now, especially when it comes to mental illness. But we never know what our life, you know, what will happen in our life. So, you know, things do change and it's okay. And that's the issue with this mental health stigma, the stigma surrounding mental illness and all that stuff. Because the majority of everybody that you know, whether anybody, it's going to affect somebody once in their life. And that's just fact. So we have to be a lot more gentle and careful too, because I mean, we just had a school shooting a couple days ago over here, and it's just insane, right? And everyone's talking gun laws and, you know, gun control and all this stuff. And it's like, mental health is the issue here. It's always the issue. And there's so much stress going on in this world, especially with children, you know, and, you know, being masked and all this stuff going on. So of course it's going to affect our mental health. So that again trumps everything.
Yeah. And one of yours was, so those things that you were talking about was respect your body and respect the food. And that's part of that mental health. For not just diet too, right? Like it comes, like you said, with everything, how we view the world, how we view each other, how we view the planet, and why are we choosing these things, right? Really quick before we dive into that, I want to tell a really quick story, which was so perfect on the subject, is how we're told to do stuff as well. Like on the internet, there's so many people who try to gaslight you into doing something, or scare you into doing something, or tell you if you don't do this, you're bad somehow, or like, and they imply it. They don't just right out say it. Some do, but there's a lot of like subtle gaslighting that goes on. Like if somebody says, oh, by the way, this and this and this, whatever, right? They're kind of like, they're trying to school you instead of helping you maybe see a different perspective. But the story I wanted to say was Nate and I were hiking, and there was the main trail, and then there was the non-main trail. And apparently they were doing work on the non-main trail, like they're closing it out and they're changing it to protect the area and stuff. So there were some people walking on that trail instead of the main trail, which had it blocked off at one point, but they probably missed that. And there was a girl on the main trail who was yelling over there and was saying, "Get off that trail. That's not open. You're ruining the environment. You're ruining for all the locals. You're blah, 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 like you blah," right? Trying to get them off the trail.
Yeah.
If she had done it in a different way and said, "Hey, protect our environment, come over to this one. It's so much better, blah, blah, blah," right? Like, you know, like it's totally the perception and the mind shift and the different way of saying something and how we can talk about that way to ourselves. Like instead of saying like, "You shouldn't have cooked food because it's poison and toxic and I have to go on this fast, otherwise I'm never going to heal," right? These things we're telling ourselves when it's really, it's like, no, I want to enjoy cooked food because I love my body and it feels great and I enjoy the flavor and the taste and all of this other stuff. It's like, focus on that. And it opens up this whole world of freedom. But yeah.
So true. I know, great story. Yeah, there's so many different ways to look at something too. Yeah. And a lot of the times, again, we're all projecting in some way, shape, or form, but people are projecting either advice, like, no, be careful of this because it affected me. It's like, wait a minute. So everything that happens to you happens to everybody. And that's the problem, overgeneralizations that we can kind of get into. And it's happening within coaches too. Everybody's got their advice. Oh, this is what works for me and my friends.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I know.
Okay.
I get that too with like the broccoli and the cabbage, where I get a lot of people saying, well, broccoli is not human food. It's too hard to digest and it wrecks your colon and, you know, the rough stuff. But I don't experience that. I have to like,
it doesn't wreck your colon. So if it wrecks their colon, what are they doing? And most of the time with these food fears, projecting out, whoa, that's toxic, that's bad. That's because they have personal issues related to food, whether they can't digest it, they have sensitivities. And if we keep digging deeper, the underlying issues with disordered eating and all that stuff is gut issues. 98% of people suffering with eating disorders have underlying gastrointestinal issues. That's just fact. I mean, when I saw that, I dug deep. I was like, is this right? It's true, you know? And it just reciprocates. It's all a cycle, because the more you restrict, the more you go on these diet cleanses and stuff, you're going to continue to have issues. You'll feel good temporarily. Oh, I feel so great after my juice cleanse, my water fast. I'm healed. I'm a new woman. Been there, done that. I felt the same thing. But fast forward a couple months, fast forward a couple years. Where are you at? Where is your relationship with food? How are you talking to other people about food? What kind of advice are you giving other people about food? So, yes.
Oh man, yeah,
that's what we wanted to talk about. So yeah, we can go into the 4 points about let's go into that on ways to improve your relationship with food, because first and foremost, you have to, it's about you. So your relationship with food is not about the food. It's about you. So, and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to wrap your mind around, because you're like, but it's healthy food. Yeah. So how is it wrong for me to eat the healthy food? But it's not the food. It's why. It's your relationship. I know. And it's a hard one to wrap your mind around. Yeah. You have to listen to it over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah. Same with eating disorders too. Eating disorders are not about the food. And you're like, but eating disorder. Yeah. Well, the disorder is within eating, because they're using that as a coping mechanism for trauma, fear, pain, whatever it may be. So food is just the scapegoat in this situation, right? Because it's just there. But it all depends on your behavior, thought patterns surrounding the food. So we can't blame the food. That's why we never want to, good versus bad and all that stuff. Yes, there's fine lines, because we're all vegans here. Majority of people may be watching, you and I, we are ethical vegans for ethical reasons. So we choose not to eat animal products. Are we saying, animal products are bad or whatever? No, but we don't choose them because for a plethora of reasons, which we can go into forever. That can be a whole other live. Still, this whole this whole labeling of food can be tricky. And I know it's tricky in the raw food world, right? Because, well, raw foods are good and anything that's cooked and anything that's processed is bad. And it's like, well, again,
yeah, I
fine
know.
line.
I like what John Kohler says. He's like good, better, best, because it
Yes.
doesn't matter, right? It's like there's some stuff that's naturally more ideal, right? And it's not like we can refute the science on it. It's like some stuff is
it's all
better.
there, yeah.
But it's our relationship, right? And why we're choosing those things, because we can choose fruits and veggies if we want to, but why?
Yeah. Yes. Why? Well, I need to do this to stay slim, or just, you know, if there's that underlying fear there, then that's going to show up in your body. You're ingesting that fear. You not only, you know, vegans are talking about don't eat dead animals because you're ingesting fear, trauma, all that stuff. Well, what are your thoughts about the foods that you're consuming? You're actually projecting, I mean, energetically, you're projecting stuff onto that food, projecting it onto social media for other people to pick up, because, you know, in the raw food community, people are recycling the same stuff. Oh yeah, cooked food is this, cooked food is that. And it's like, where are we getting at? So, okay, first point, respect your body and remind yourself that you are worthy of nourishment. I think it's such a simple concept, but a lot of people, you know, just, you know, am I worthy? Or, you know, I have to eat this way so I can do this and do that and whatnot. But it's like, but you're worthy already of nourishment, no matter what other people think about that. You know, maybe you change up your diet for a little bit because you want to. You're worthy of that. This is your life, right? You can do anything, you know. But I think the other point, as far as comparing yourself with other people, getting caught up in the community, I gotta be like them, I gotta level up, I gotta go deeper, I gotta get to the next level, I gotta go longer. So, and that's the tricky part, you know, because of course everybody here, we want to improve our health. That's just we all do. We want to improve, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. Yes. But it can become disordered over time, depending on how you're talking about this food, how you're giving advice, how you're talking to yourself. We'll never truly know what other people are thinking in their minds, right? We can only speculate based on information that they're sharing, how they're talking, all that stuff. So we'll never truly know. So really, it goes back to you and your relationship with yourself and other people too, because how you treat yourself, I mean, you're treating other people, you're treating, you know, food, especially for nourishment, everything. It's all connected in that way. So yeah, respecting your body no matter what. No matter what anyone else is doing. Oh man. It's so true. And no matter what stage you are in, wherever you are in your life too, because so many people say, I think I sent you that reel where it was like at 18, I wanted to be thinner. At 26, I wanted a different nose. And then at 30, I was like, I was actually really cute at 26. And then at 40, you're like, oh man, I wish I didn't think I was so ugly at 36. And then at 50, you just want your joint pain to go away. And at 80, you wish you never disliked yourself ever. It's the same thing, right? And you look back, and that's the thing about aging too. That's a whole other topic too, right? Because oh my gosh, they're aging, you know, people hyper focused about image and what other people are doing and whatnot. It's just like, man, this is a beautiful process, you know, looking back on yourself and all the things you got through, you didn't think you could get through, and you were so focused on appearance and image at that time, right? I mean, it's just like, you know, if only I would have been in the moment. Why was I so concerned about that? Because now in the moment that I'm in, what concerned me or what mattered doesn't matter anymore, right? Because all that matters really is the present moment and love who we're with and living life to the fullest and being present and aware, especially with your food too, so you can enjoy, because we're not meant to suffer. You know, we're not. We're overcomplicating these things. So we are worthy of nourishment. We are meant to enjoy food no matter what it is, no matter what other people think of it. So that's just number one core belief that I try to get my clients to understand all the time, and to repeat it too. I am worthy. I am worthy of nourishment no matter what. If I need to eat a little extra, you know, especially depending on my cycle too, which is another thing we can get into, and women on their cycles, because
very important topic.
Oh man, so many topics.
I know there's so much to talk about too, and like so many misconceptions and myths that are perpetuated because somebody at one point said it made sense to someone else, and then they said it again, and then that's kind of how things become ideas, right? It just gets parroted around.
Yes.
And what you said before, what works for one person might not work for another. And what I was feeling really interested when you were saying like you are worthy for nourishment no matter what you eat. And this, just saying that can really irritate some people's identities, because they're going to say, but what about junk food? But what about animal? And that's where the issue is. It's in that feeling that you feel when you disagree and you say, but what about this? It's like, well, if you have a loving relationship with yourself and you want to put loving foods into your body, you're just naturally not going to choose those. Right?
Yes.
It's kind of like the love-based or sorry, the law-based or grace-based, right? The law says the 10 commandments, do this, do that, do that, do that, do that, or else.
Conditional.
Right? Right? Whereas the grace-based is unconditional. It's like, do these things because you love, right? Like, you're not going to murder because you love others. You're not going to steal because you respect others. You're not going to disrespect others because you would like respect, right? You're not going to do these things out of love. Whereas these ones, they're saying don't steal, don't murder, don't lie, blah, 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 or else. There's always an or else. If there's an or else, then that's not the mindset to be in, right? It's like,
or else, burn in hell. Fear. Oh,
right? Like, cleanse or else, or do this or else, or don't eat hybrid fruit, or otherwise this is gonna happen.
Oh shoot, how much time we got?
We got time, girl, we got time.
Shoot, again, I was gonna say excellent points there. I was gonna also say it's rooted in perfectionism too. That's rooted in, and it's okay, like, hey, I'm a perfectionist in some areas of my life, and that can benefit me in my work and other things that I do. But when it comes to nourishment, it's another subject. Like I said, you're worthy of nourishment, so why should we be perfectionists when it comes to that? And especially in the world that we live in, that's just, it's almost winter here. Like, good luck being a perfectionist. Good luck being a raw vegan perfectionist in the cold winter. You know this. Canada,
exactly.
And Chris
and when you say perfection, it's what's the perception of perfection, right? Yeah. Because what's perfect for one person isn't perfect for another. Because you were just mentioning cold, right? Doing raw in the cold. Someone might be like, well, you have to be a raw vegan, you have to eat all of this exactly the way it is. Otherwise, you can't be raw. So if you live in Canada, if you don't follow this to a T, you can't be raw. Whereas I followed other things that worked for me to stay raw in the winter. Like, I had 2 salads a day. I was eating bananas mostly because there wasn't as much good fruit, but it worked for me. And because I didn't fit in someone's idea of what a raw vegan is, then they're like, well, you're doing it wrong. You're not a real raw vegan. You're not a real vegetarian, or you're eating too many greens, or why are you eating garlic? Why are you eating spices? And why are you doing this? And
coconut amino.
Miso paste and nooch and I'm not fully raw and all this stuff. And it's like, I am eating more raw plant foods than I ever have in my entire life. So why is it such a concern? And I realize that these people, when they try to point out the things that you're doing, it's because they're not confident in what they're doing, or they feel like they need to justify what they believe.
True. Yeah. That's the truth. The detox disorder dudes. Really, it's just this constant justification. And really, it's rooted in perfectionism. And we really got to let that go as much as we can, because it just creates disordered relationships around food, which creates disordered relationships with yourself, with your mental health. It all goes back to that, So it's just, we can't keep talking about this. Hey, Nate, I see you, boy.
He got some packages.
There he is. I hope the cats interrupt and jump on the couch.
I'm so hoping for one of them to come into the picture. I'm like, where are they?
I know. They're gonna show us when we least expect it.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly
boy.
right. Oh, the cat.
Okay. So
Okay,
next
keep
point,
going.
respect the food you eat.
Hmm.
You know, don't talk shit about the food you eat. Don't talk negatively about foods. The perfect, here's another little buzz sentence. The perfect diet doesn't exist. I mean, would you agree?
Mm. The perfect diet doesn't exist. It doesn't. There's no such thing because, like I said, you're going to move through life. You're going to age. There's no such thing as immortality, perfection. You're never going to get sick. You're never going to get wrinkles or fluctuate in weight or whatever. Like your body is going to go through changes no matter what. You cannot stop it, and you cannot stay the same age and the same day for the rest of your life. And the perfect diet
Insert
doesn't exist.
breatharianism comment.
Breatharianism, yeah. And it's like with the breatharianism thing, it's all about prana. But the highest source of prana, I believe, and I'm sure you can agree, is in raw foods, right? There's so much prana in the raw foods, and we're living on the prana, right? If you want to go the energy.
It's in the earth. Prana really is everywhere. We cultivate it, you know? So food is prana. So I don't know what they're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting, that kind of aspect to the energy around it. 'Cause some people are saying like, well, the food is dead, right? And even just that wording,
that statement right there
is dead. It creates this, it creates this negative connotation. And I was meditating up on the mountains the other day, and I had two big epiphanies. I'm going to make videos about them. The first one was exactly what you were talking about earlier, is I was trying to focus on my breath. And the whole time I was trying to focus on my breath, I was also trying to not think about thinking. And just thinking about not thinking about thinking was thinking in itself. And then I'd be like, wow, that was interesting. But then I was totally not even paying attention to my breath. I was breathing because you breathe to stay alive. You don't have to think about it. But I wasn't focused on it. I wasn't enjoying it. So it's just like the raw food or your healthy choices. Like if you're so constantly like, oh, but what about this? Or is this in this? Or I'm missing this? Or whatever, right? You're so worried about that. You're actually just not fully enjoying.
You're missing out.
Yeah, you're missing out
on the present
on
moment.
The freedom. And in the mind as well, that freedom. Just eat. And the second epiphany that I had was, oh, like, what was it? It'll come back to me. Oh my God.
It's okay. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Was it when you were hiking?
Yeah.
Was it the story you told me about?
What did I say? I can't remember. I had it for like half a second. Oh, see, that's another thing. Yeah, I had it for half a second, and then somebody out there might be like, oh, see, it's the raw food. Her brain doesn't work or whatever, right?
Vegan deterioration is happening.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And that's the thing, too. Like, we're so focused on
perfectionism.
Being perfect. Like, I have to have my brain functioning perfectly all the time at every single given moment. And, you know, sometimes you're tired, or sometimes you have too many thoughts in your head and you can't pick one.
Yes,
right?
I know. We're too hard on ourselves. We're too hard on others, too. I mean, it's just, the perfectionism's got to go. Purity, perfectionism. Of course, we can want to improve, but up to a certain point. Otherwise, it's going to become disordered, you know, and that impacts your relationship with yourself. So what did I say? Respect the food that you eat. Don't talk down about it. Like you said earlier, you could eat nothing but raw fruits and vegetables and still have an unhealthy relationship with food because it's all about the perception and food is the foundation of your relationship with it. So demonizing it just because you can't digest it, just because, well, everybody's got a problem, you know, sweet potato squash. It slows you down. It doesn't slow me down, buddy. It don't slow me down. I'm sorry, I can't relate. Like, so it doesn't. And that includes so many different factors because we're all different based on the different choices that we make. I mean, we're all similar. We have the same physiological features, male, female differences, hormonal stuff. But the only thing that separates us really, or makes us different from each other, is our choices and mostly our thought patterns, what we're thinking about. I mean, we're so unique and individual. There is no, you know, we're one in, what is it, a trillion? I forget it's just impossible. You cannot replicate another person. We are so unique and individual. It's beautiful. It's amazing. So what's up with this comparison? Why are we constantly comparing, you know, because we each can all bring something good and unique to the table and learn from that too. So
it's so true, because everybody has something positive that they can bring. And also, like you say, not just our thoughts and what we think and everything, but our gut microbiomes are so different too, right? And that throws another card on the table, because everyone's gut microbiome is different. Even family members can have different, they do, because it's like your fingerprint. Everyone's is totally different. And it can change based on what you eat and how you feel and how you sleep.
And what you think.
Gut
You're
mind
projecting
connection.
like, this food is toxic, but I got no other food to eat, so I'm just gonna eat it anyways. Like, what? That's not going to be helpful to your gut microbiome, because these are trillions and trillions of bacteria, and they're all listening to you. Like, you are the god to all of your trillions of cells, the bacteria. There's more bacteria on and inside our bodies than, I forget, something, not stars in the sky, maybe, I forget, some kind of obscene number, maybe not, more cells, more bacteria than cells in your body. I'm gonna need to fact check that.
It is actually, I think it's just over double the amount of bacteria live on us and in us than there are cells in our entire body. So we're actually more bacteria than we are human.
We're dirty. I mean, so what's up with this whole clean eating? Like, stay clean, get the body clean, get that colon clean. Well, dude, if you really thought about it, we're dirty. You want to keep it dirty. So interesting concepts here.
The tube that goes from your mouth to your anus is technically on the outside of your body.
Oh my god, openings.
My bio teacher taught us that when I was like, I think grade 11. He was like, the whole way down through it all is the outside of your body, and things. That's why it's full of bacteria, and that's why it's full of everything. And we absorb into our body what our bacteria create, right? That's why we like high fiber, because it's giving that bacteria a chance to make butyric acid or short chain fatty acids that we can use as energy. They convert certain vitamins into other things, and they create nutrients for us. And they are 70% of our immunity. And they produce 90% of our serotonin.
Yes, happy
hormones.
It's insane. So that's their food for them. Fiber is the food. Everyone's like, oh no, avoid the fiber. Can't digest the fiber. So what are we gonna do? Because I can't digest fiber, I'm gonna just basically juice and then avoid fiber. Logic. Okay. Yes, temporarily, of course. Like, wherever somebody's at, but this constant cycle of like, gotta keep juice cleansing, get to that next level healing. Not good enough. I'm not good enough where I'm at right now. Next level healing, dig deeper, keep dig. I mean, you've heard it all. We make fun of this every day. It's like, when will it end? You know, so you know, these people are making these statements. Well, let's just look deeper into it. What does it actually mean for them? And you know, it's just that vicious cycle that they're on.
And the saddest thing is that these people are stuck in it, and we want to help them. Yes. And we understand that it is a trap, and it's not you that is the problem. It's the trap that is the problem, right? Like we might talk about the trap and stuff, and it's like you said, like, we make fun of it. We're not making fun of the people. No. We're making fun of yeah, exactly. We're making fun of the, not even fun. We're like,
behavior. It's the behavior. It's the nonsense. I mean, it's it's the statements and all that stuff. You know, like I said, if I disagree with you, you're a coach or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's never personal, and that needs to be spoken and repeated over and over again, because people will come back and attack you all day long. But it's like, listen, I just disagree with your statement, what you're saying about this. That is the issue. And again, just these statements that, like you said, get parroted around in our community. It's the same kind of thing. We just want to debunk those and better understand, okay, why are people saying this? And why do they keep going back on the juice cleanses? Because they can't digest the fiber. You know, why? Why is that? Because they're stuck in that cycle we want to get them out of. you know,
Yeah,
no more
exactly.
suffering.
And it all boils down to the why. Like, why is this continuing? Is it because the behaviors are continuing? And that's another thing that people do too, is that they haven't changed their behaviors before doing anything like that, right? Like, they haven't changed the foundation of what they eat every single day. They haven't changed the foundation of how they view food. They haven't changed the foundation of how they view themselves. So when they do something like a fast or a quick fix, or they go on a diet or whatever, what are they going to go back to? Because if you don't change that foundation, you have to, I mean, you're like dealing with your current habits that you've had for pretty much your whole life, and your current that it's hard to change after a juice fast. Once you're, maybe you've been under eating the whole time, and you're just like, your mind's not there, and you really can't change your habits when you're in that state. And most people just go back and end up back where they started.
Extremes are easy, and that's why people keep going on the stuff. Like, hey, my water fast was actually easy. I had many reasons why. It's just I learned a lot afterwards, and I was like, oh, yikes, that was a lot. That was really long. I shouldn't have trusted somebody that didn't even know me with my health, but it's fine. I did it, learned a huge lesson, hope to continue to educate and teach people about these things. But still, extremes are easy. Extremes are so easy, but actually staying consistent with something is much more difficult. You know, balance is difficult. Extremes are easy, balance is difficult. And I think that's
and consistency too. People are like, if you're consistent with something long term, it in a way, I mean, in a way people can value it, because it's like, wow, you were consistent for that long. But consistency for the most part is boring, and that's probably one of the hardest things to do as humans, is be consistent with anything, or like that's a challenge for most people, and they just don't want to be consistent. They want the quick fix. They want it now.
Well, they want results. I mean, who doesn't want results? I'm putting in the work. Where are my results, you know? And depending on what you're doing, and if you're stuck in this the diet culture habits, which we've talked about with, you know, restricting yourself, but, you know, focusing on appearance and weight and all that stuff, because weight is very important. That's another topic and a tricky subject too, because a lot of people want to lose weight. Nothing wrong with that too, but they're making unhealthy, unstable behaviors surrounding that weight loss that they want, and that's what's keeping them stuck. So it's the vicious cycle that they get caught up in. Binge, restrict, no matter how little too. So, you know, restriction could be many different things. There could also be mental restriction, because hunger is just not that grumbling feeling that you get in your stomach. There's so many, another topic we can get into, but what is hunger, right? So many things. Hunger isn't just like the feeling in that way. Hunger can show up in so many different ways: feeling tired, being irritable, you know, dehydrated, whatever it may be. It's not just that rumbling feeling in your stomach. So people say, I listen to my body. I eat 2,800 calories a day. Well, you know, you ate 1,500 calories a day for 20 years. So, you know, you're still not there yet. So it's just, everybody is so unique and different. And even with calories, you know, oh, I eat enough calories. What is enough calories? It's not the same for everybody too, based on your past.
And people underestimate how much is enough.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're, I get a lot of people say, but Lissa, I don't feel hungry. So I eat less, because I feel like my food's more nourishing and I need less of it to get the nutrients. But nutrients are only half the issue, right? If you are, like, you're still burning calories, you need a unit of fuel to burn so that your heart pumps, your lungs run, your brain functions, your skin, you know, all your organs detox. Like, you need energy so that they can detox every day, right? So you need that energy to be able to do that. And
helps you detox.
So yeah, there's that too, where you don't know really how much you need until you learn about how much you need. Because if you don't feel hungry, so you feel like you need less, it could be because you're eating less and your body is adapting. It's not the other way around.
Yes, adaptive thermogenesis. Yeah, I'm not hungry though. Don't matter. I was not ever, I can't even even after my water fast, the hunger cues definitely got thrown off for a very long time. You know, I could wake up too and not feel hungry. I don't force myself, because there's a difference between force and kind of gently guiding yourself and making sure that you're nourishing your body, especially if you're getting up, taking care of kids, going to work, whatever it may be. Come on, you know, we're not just sitting down meditating all day on some island. I mean, everybody thinks that everyone's on a permanent vacation on Instagram. I tell you, it's like, what do you do in real life, people? Like, you just sit there, eat fruits and vegetables all day? Like,
I know,
people,
we need the energy, like, especially if you're
we
adding
need
working
it.
out too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was talking to Chef AJ earlier, and we were talking about how exercise is not the weight loss tool. That
Yeah.
like diet culture says we need to lose weight with exercise. Obviously, dieting too is the whole other side of it.
Yeah.
But they're like,
Mm-hmm.
exercise, exercise, exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned a long time ago that exercise is not a weight loss tool. It is a health tool.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I love
and
that.
Exercise, you do lose weight if you burn more calories, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, that's again, the whole relationship, not just with food, but with exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's with everything. It's a healthy relationship with sleep.
Yes.
If you feel like you're missing out on life because you're going to bed at 9 o'clock every night because you have to, that's another issue, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
just food. It's
Mm-hmm.
why do we make these healthy life choices?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because you genuinely want to go to bed at 9 and you don't care about the party?
Yeah.
You actually would rather go to bed because you're tired and you want to? Or are you doing it because you are going to miss out and you're like, I have to, I can't stay up, right? Like, that's,
I need my beauty sleep. I need to be beautiful all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's like, why are you making these choices? That's the basis behind everything.
The underlying core of your relationship with everything in your life, to why you're doing that deep down. A lot of people be like, I'm just doing it for my health. They'll say that to you, but you know, the unspoken word, they know within themselves why they're doing it. So just questions to ask yourself, because third point, stop comparing yourself to other people, especially online. Eating is not a competition. And lots of people are wearing masks on here. Like I said, with this whole, like, your online persona and your real life persona. We all have it. I mean, it's very difficult to, hey, we all want to look good and stuff, like, hey, you know.
And we're all beautiful, and we all have amazing things to offer and say and inspire others. Because, I mean, that's another thing, right? Like, if you're vegan, you want to inspire other people to choose vegan options.
Yes, we do.
But it's how you come across. Are you scaring people into it, or are you gently guiding them with joy?
My middle name, hey.
Middle name.
Love it. But yeah, so many people on here wearing a mask. So I always say, you know, like, social media is not real life. Stop believing everything you see. Start asking more questions. You like the people you follow? Great. Ask them questions. That sometimes pisses them off. I know this well. Lots of people block me when I ask questions. But it's all good.
And you're just trying to raise awareness. That's all. And you can tell if somebody does feel pain when they are shown in the mirror what they believe. Like, it's just a mirror reflection. Like, I remember a long time ago, I would say, well, it's a long time ago, it's 10 years, but it feels like it was forever ago, right? Maybe 15 years ago. I was about 25, so 15. Okay, I was working at the health food store, and I was really into health, even though I didn't really the healthiest. I was really into it. I was stuck in the diet culture. Yeah. I was just like calorie restriction, high fat, supplement, quick fixes, cleanses, detoxes, because I was the shipping receiving manager, and I got a lot of stuff for free.
Wow.
I've done countless herbal cleanse kits. I had the zapper, the parasite zapper that would zap your parasites, and I did that. I did the gallbladder flush. I did the master cleanse how many times?
Oh, wow.
Juicing, whatever. Like, I've done it, right?
You've done it. You walk the walk.
And when you're working in the health food store, you're exposed to a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So when I was there, I remember I read this article about orthorexia. And I could feel it. I was like, I want to be healthy. How am I mentally ill? Right? but I didn't realize, and that it hurt to hear that because I was wanting to make healthy choices, that suddenly made me ill. But what I didn't realize and what I didn't get from that article was because it wasn't the act of eating something healthy, it was why are you choosing that healthy food? Yeah. If you're choosing it because you're obsessed with being healthy and that's really all you think about, then it's time to take a step back and really ask yourself, what is my belief around food? And if it hurts, if it feels like that's time to really just back off and just really reflect and ask yourself, why are you believing these things? Why? Yeah.
And it goes back to worthiness too. Am I worthy? I'm not worthy if I don't look a certain way, or I'm not healthy and idealized healthy. I'm not, what is health? We can go into that forever too. Health looks different to each person as well. And there's a lot of health shamers out there online too, as far as like looking at other people and like, oh, they're not healthy. But it's like, you don't know them. You don't know the struggles they went through too. Maybe they tried to be healthy. Maybe they did exactly everything that you did as well with the supplements and the cleanses and all that stuff. And they had a bad experience with it. And gaining weight was actually the way to heal their, metabolism or whatever it may be, imbalanced hormones from the restrictive period. So we're constantly judging people based on, visual and appearance, but it's like, there's so much more to the story. That's why we have to continue to ask questions before making assumptions. I think that's the second or third agreement from the 4 agreements. I love it. I love that. I live by that. It's just I love them. But yeah, stop making assumptions. Just ask more questions. And if people can't handle the questions they're being asked, then maybe, they're not really strong in the truth that they're sharing. And that's fine. So that's how people find their own truth. So keep asking questions and stop comparing yourself to others, because there's more going on behind the scenes that we won't know. We'll never know. Even your partner too, someone you've known for 20, 30 plus years, you'll never truly know what's really going on the inside, what they're thinking all the time. Maybe you'll have an idea a little bit, but this is so vast and complex. And with the mental health aspect or mental illness too, with suicides and all that stuff, family members, sometimes it comes as a shock to them because they're like, oh, I had no idea in that way. So that's the thing.
That really rings true to me, because with my ex, he had no idea that I had the lowest self-esteem that I ever had in my life after I lost 70 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
I lost 70 pounds going raw. And yes, like you said, it's totally fine to want to lose weight, to be healthier, but why are you doing it? That's the question. I never did raw for weight loss. That was last on my list, if it was even on my list. I just wanted to get healthy and stop the heart flutters that I was having and stop feeling tired. I just wanted to be healthy. And I enjoyed raw food, so that's where I went with it. And I naturally lost the weight. I was not focused on it at all. It was just one day I was like, oh, hey, I'm losing weight, right? But my acne was more of an important thing for me. And because it was painful, it hurt. So my hormones and my gut dysbiosis, that was such a big thing too. And yes, you can lose weight and share a before and after, but all people are seeing is the outside results. They don't see what's on the inside, and they can't feel your change. Yes, you can lose weight, but how is your mental health at weight loss? How is your internal health? How is your gut microbiome? How is your sleep? How are your relationships with others? How's your relationship with yourself? We don't know that from looking at it before and after.
We don't. Oh, it's so true. And that's why we can't, I don't want to make absolute statements here, but it's probably not best to comment on other people's weight, right? Because we don't know. We're programmed to think weight loss is good, weight gain is bad. It's like, wait, hold up, there's more to the story, because weight gain could be good and weight loss could be bad. So we don't know, right? But we're focused on the visual. Oh, you look so good, girl. Yeah, you're killing it. You're slaying it, queen. Yeah, you're losing the weight. But it's still is this helpful? Is this helpful? Most of the times, from what I've been learning, especially with this diet culture stuff, it's not helpful to comment on bodies, no matter what, because we don't know the story. So just ask questions. Get to know somebody. Why are they doing this? you know, find their why so you can make a better assumption in that way, but understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, you know?
Exactly. We had a question asking, is this sort of the stuff that people can talk to you both via online consultation? Yes. This is like the number one thing.
Number
because,
one.
I mean, we can tell you how to eat raw food all day long, but if you don't change your daily habits and the way you view yourself and the way you view food, it's not going to stick. And it's going to be challenging. Because I did this video. It was like, how do you, raw foods feel so intimidating. How do I start? And it's really, you just eat raw food.
You just do it because you want to. Yeah.
If you're eating cooked food, it doesn't matter. Just eat more raw food and just add it in when you want to. It's not hard to start eating raw food. But people are complicating it too much. And if you don't change those foundations,
yes,
it's not going to stick.
Yes. The perfectionism, like we talked about, that kind of creeps in. I'm not doing it perfect enough. And then I think we're going to talk about this. Remember how we always get the messages as far as like, I fell off the wagon. Yeah. I'm struggling to stay raw. It's like a struggle. And it's like, hold up. No, nothing should be, eating should not be a struggle. Let's go back to the first, point. You are worthy of nourishment. Eating should not be a struggle. If it's a struggle, stop. And, get off of this because what is your why? Why are you doing this? So kind of going back to those points, because it's just not, a raw food diet is not going to be beneficial. Most of the clients that come to me that want to eat raw, I kind of assess where they're at and all that. And it's like, well, you're not ready for 100% because this is why, this is where you're coming from. And you need to build that strong foundation of maybe eating whole foods and having a better relationship with food first and foremost, because there's too much fear going on here, because that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't improve your health of why,
definitely. What would you say to someone, Rock Koala is asking, I need to get out of the focus on weight loss. What would you say to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another thing with this whole diet culture. So I would say that, maybe you're stuck in the diet, and I was too, the diet culture mentality, valuing thinness and appearance and all these things above your well-being. So right now you're valuing that above your own well-being, your relationship with yourself and your body image. How do you view yourself? And a lot of us, we've all been conditioned this way, especially young women and men too. Men deal with body image issues just the same, but they don't verbalize it. So everybody's dealing with this because we're constantly bombarded with advertisements, the movies, models, actresses, whatever it is, especially on Instagram. So we definitely need to monitor what we're being exposed to because those thoughts can creep in. So I would say with being focused on, weight loss and all that stuff, it's more so diet culture in this case. So what you want to do is kind of not say fight, but fight against this because we've all been programmed to focus on the appearance, value thinness and all this, and placing importance on losing weight and making that be a good thing and being validated for it. We all do this, right? So now it's just time we need to change our behaviors. And again, focus on mental health. Because like I said, mental health is far more important. It trumps everything else, including your physical health. Because what's the point? If you lose weight, you get six-pack abs, you do have energy, you're eating healthy, but if you're not happy within, then is it worth it? Is it worth it? And, let's say you achieve those things and, that's it. You've got one more day left to live on this earth and you've achieved those things physically or within your body, but you weren't happy in the process. Was it worth it?
Yeah.
And I guess it's worth it to other people. Maybe they value, maybe they place their importance on what they look like. And you never know, maybe not, who knows, but it's just not worth it because people aren't happy at the end of the day because we are valuing what we look like and weight and thinness and all that. So we just got to fight against it and keep asking questions on what's worth it or not.
And to focus on the health aspect, because if you focus on having a healthy relationship with you and with food, then your body's going to naturally be grateful for what you're doing and just it'll do what it's going to do, and you're going to love it through every stage, and just enjoy eating healthy food no matter where you are, because you're always going to be changing anyways. There's no end.
Yeah.
There's no end.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I heard this really cool quote. It's like, once you climb one mountain, it becomes the bottom of the next.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it's just like, it's why they call it a yoga practice and not a yoga perfect, because there's no such thing as a yoga perfect. There's never like this level where you are now a perfect yogi and you've reached it. Right. Yeah. Even people who are more flexible or who've been doing it for years can still like change a little bit angle, like listen to their body and just move into whatever position it is. And they practice yoga, right? We need to practice self-love and actually put it into practice. Practice self-love and practice the love of nourishment. And with that focus helps us to realize that we are perfect. We're unfinished,
I love this.
Unfinished masterpieces. Yeah.
We are. And yes, we don't need to achieve something outside of us to feel worthy. I mean, we are worthy right here and now. And that's the hardest thing. I've struggled with that in the past as well. It's so challenging too. And Instagram is this like mirror too, because we're all doing this, right? Everybody is. We're all on here doing this. And we really are comparing. It's hard not to compare. And that's why you and I just send each other cat videos every day. Because like, it's a little, looking at all the other stuff online is kind of wild. We'd rather see the cat. We're here for the cat videos.
Cat videos all the way, right? Cats and Christmas trees lately. That's a good one.
Oh my, they're all stuck in that. My old cat, Bob, I left the Christmas tree up for like a good month after Christmas. He loved it.
Oh,
so yeah, cats love the trees. Love it. Okay, last point.
Yes,
and I feel like, there's raw koala again. Okay, so I hope I kind of answered your question on that, but the last point is practicing mindfulness. That's also what's going to really help you when you're kind of focused on the image and the visual, like, just you're not your body in that way. Because like we were saying, over time, your body changes, and we need to adapt to those changes and love ourselves during those changes, because I mean, it happens. We make mistakes, or things happen in our lives that we don't have control over. But what we do have control over is the relationship with ourselves. And that's the most important relationship you will ever have, the longest relationship. So true. Super, super important to focus on that. So what mindfulness is the ability to be present. So like you were saying in your meditation on the rocks when you were hiking, like you're just like, oh, I need to stop thinking about not thinking, but I can't stop breathing, and it's so hard,
right? And that's the practice where you're constantly trying to, like, instead of trying to not think, try to focus on the breath, because when you focus on the breath, then you naturally don't think about stuff. I mean, they do hop in, but like when you're really focused, it's all where your focus is.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And it should be on
you focus on grows, and how you perceive food, that also grows as well. So if you're looking at certain foods, bad, toxic, dead food, whatever it is, we could numbing, so many behaviors are numbing that have nothing to do with food. So again, if people are making these statements about food, that's a huge issue, because that tells us that's not a good relationship with the food, and there may be an issue with the relationship with themselves, because why are we fearing this food? Just don't choose it. Choose what you want. Choose what works for you. And like you and I both said, we chose the raw food diet because we wanted to, not because of any other external factor. Yeah, we got into raw foods because, we heard about it online, right? How else do you learn about these things? People share it. Hey, this is what I'm eating. This is what I'm doing. Oh, my health has really improved. So of course we learn it that way. But over time, if you're addicted to these, watching people's feeds every single day and what I eat in a day videos, and constantly comparing yourself to, I'm not eating as good, good versus bad associated with food, that's what can get you into trouble with your relationship with yourself, including your mental health. So that's all we're just trying to bring awareness to. And, it's difficult. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's lifelong.
Yeah, lifelong and deeply ingrained. And like we said, it's tied to our identity.
Yes.
Who we are as a society. And it's like society itself has the broken relationship with food, and
Yes.
we're all in this boat together.
They're projecting onto us, and we're just picking it up at a young age too. At a young age. I mean, the young kids right now are being programmed by the TikToks and all that stuff going on. Pros and cons to that. There's pros and cons to social media, every little thing, but things are kind of getting out of control. So we just got to bring back control, and being mindful is really the focus, that bringing everything together without, so it's really focusing on the present, and then not being overwhelmed by intrusive thoughts. So things kind of just like coming at you at all angles, or just things that pop up, an intrusive thought. Sometimes intrusive thoughts are very, very scary. I used to deal with anxiety in the past, and just like things pop up and you're like, oh my gosh. Luckily, when you know you are not your thoughts, and thoughts are just kind of like clouds that kind of pass by, and you can kind of separate yourself from that, because, you know, where did this thought come from? Question that thought. Who's, you know, where did I pick this thought up? Most of the times we're scrolling through Instagram, social media, we're finding these things, and it's, you know, being projected onto us. We're just picking it up. That's why at the end of the day, we really want to focus on releasing those attachments and things that, you know, are bombarded at us on a daily basis with regards to diet culture and food and all that stuff too. So it's a lot, but once we're aware of this, hey, we're empowering ourselves with knowledge, and we can make that change. We don't have to be like or I hate using that word. we're not
we're not tied to it.
Thank you. Yeah,
we don't tie our identity to it. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I know. And see, just like it's hard to get rid of those words that we use to describe stuff.
Yes.
And
gotta stop
because
yourself.
We've said it over and over and over and over again over the years, that it's just something that we all just agree upon as being the word for that thing. And like a word is just a sound vibration. I was thinking about this too when I was meditating. I had something
this is the story. Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is it. This is what I was wanting to say. Okay, cool. I'm glad it came back. It came back at the right perfect time. This is when the universe wanted us to talk about it.
That's perfect.
So words are just sound vibrations. And I can, like if you close your eyes and I say, I can, like, what do you feel? You feel empowered. You feel in control. You feel happy and excited and adventurous, and like, I can do it. I can, right? I'm free to do it. I'm free to choose, right? I can. Just that sound vibration comes with that emotion, all of those emotions. Yeah. But as soon as you add it to the end, I can't. All of a sudden, now it's a totally different emotion. It's negativity. It's restrictive. It's like, oh no, like you feel in a box. You're controlled. You're, you know, like you feel totally different just by changing that one little thing. So words carry with them so much. Like
yes, because there's energy behind the words. We're projecting out the words to the world in that way. So it's a big deal. That's why, I mean, if somebody makes a very bold statement, I'm like, okay, you really believe that? Let's dig deep into this, because that's what I am my word. If I give somebody my word, it's my word, and there's energy behind that, and I want to stand true to my word. That's why whatever I post online, you know, I stand behind. Someone disagrees, let's talk about it, whatever. But yes, there's so much energy behind these words that can affect our like mental health, our whole energetic level on the inside too. And yeah, it can create worlds or it can destroy worlds, whatever it may be. That's the power of manifestation right there. You want, let's go get into that with the consciousness.
Right? Yeah, totally. That's a whole other realm of awesome conversation.
I know.
But yeah, we manifest our reality with our words. So if we're constantly saying, I can't do this, or I should do this, or I need to do this, or I can't do that, or whatever, like all of these concepts are keeping us in a label, in a box, in a cage.
Yes. We're stuck.
And we just have to get out. So it's not the food. You can be eating broccoli and live in this cage, or you can be free and choose broccoli.
Yes.
So yeah, that relationship is so deep. And someone was asking earlier about how do you know if you're under eating? And I love what you said about hunger, because we wait until our stomach is growling. But what about all of the classic detox symptoms that people feel when they go raw? When they go raw, they say they go through the emotional roller coaster. And yes, obviously you're dealing with a lot of old beliefs that you're releasing now when you choose raw foods. You're now choosing a different kind of food. You're going to deal with some emotions. But to say that these emotions are detox or whatever isn't I don't believe it's true, because we have 7 organs in our body for detox. It does it every day. It does it on its own. And we don't need to force it into that. But if you're under eating, or if you're irritable, or you're having cravings, or constantly thinking about food, or, I mean, you have like a whole list of them, dizziness and whatever, right? Headaches and muscle aches and blah, blah, blah. Like, these can be signs that you are under eating. You're not eating enough.
Just the thought of food. You're going through Insta, what are people eating today? You're kind of focused on it. Let me tell you, when I was water fasting in Costa Rica, I was going through food posts and I was obsessed. And that was hunger. I didn't feel hungry though, because I was like, I'm focused on this fast. I'm going to do this fast. And I did. And I wasn't really hungry. You get to a certain point, your body is protecting itself. It's like, whoa, shit, what is this girl doing? We're going to stay alive, even though she's like, nope, I'm fine. We're going to fast for 26 days. And your body is keeping you alive at all times. Like, it will override what you're thinking in here. It's just like, no matter, I want to manipulate my body to lose weight, whatever it is. No, your body is in more control. That's why
and your body is reacting to what you're doing to it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. It's reacting to what you're thinking too. So focus on controlling what's going on in here and allowing your body to do the processes. It already knows. It already knows what to do. Trust your body. That was another thing with respecting your body. Trust your body. Does your body trust you after all the things that you've done to it? Because you didn't trust it. You know, there's that reciprocal relationship with your body. Because you didn't trust it, because you wanted to lose weight and all these restrictive things, or maybe you wanted to do other things too with it. But it's over here like, well, I don't trust you because you're making all these crazy changes and I'm just trying to keep you alive. So that relationship is super important as well to make sure.
Yeah, I like that you said that too, because too many of us make these choices and don't realize what's going to happen after. Like, we don't see that our choices are directly affecting our body, and our body is reacting, and then we do things because our body's reacting, and then it just gets back into that cycle where we're doing
wait no it's like a push and a pull. You know, it's just like, oh, just allow. And if you're thinking about a certain food, like with this whole thinking about food and all that, that is hunger in itself. So if you're scrolling Insta, you know, we can't, only you know that. Only you know how much you're looking at food photos and what everybody else is doing. That could be, depending, I'm not going to make absolutes here, but that could be a sign of hunger, that you have a mental hunger, that you're not allowing your body, you're not nourishing that side of things. And that's where people get into this whole emotional eating thing. Oh, I'm such an emotional eater. Well, you're just restricting yourself on a mental level. You're not satisfied, especially with the food that you're eating, not on the physical level, but a mental, emotional level. So lots to go into with that.
That is, I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like other topics we can talk about too. Like, cause you just brought up another one.
Other posts.
I know. No, I was thinking about like the addiction to food.
Yes, food
right?
addiction.
The food addiction, and it's like, it's not. And I know people disagree with it, but this is that whole heart-centered belief.
Yeah.
Right. And it hurts because it goes against what we believe, and we're like, no, right? But it's just a different perspective to think about it. But it's not food that's addicting. It's the restrictive behaviors that make food feel addicting.
Yes.
Right? And food, we're not saying that food isn't desirable or right, because if you mix fat, sugar, and salt, it's going to be very tasty and it's going to be very desired. If you're in a state of restriction or a state where you need something, you're going to gravitate to those. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's addictive. It just means that, you're making these decisions, or you're under eating, or you haven't eaten enough, or you just went too long without eating. It doesn't mean that you're addicted. Because if you stop, and you just eat healthy and you fuel up and you're adequately fueled, you naturally don't really want those foods because you are full on nourishment and you're just having a great time living your life and you're like, yeah, whatever, right? But when you restrict food and when you take it off the table or you get into these rules and everything, that's when it feels addictive.
Yes. So true. So true. Yeah. You take something away, you want it more. You know, it's just, that's human nature in itself, you know? So allow your body, nourish your body, give yourself permission to eat at any time. The kitchen ain't closed. It ain't, you know, it's going to look different for each person and what works for somebody. Like I'm giving advice, everybody's out here giving advice. That's fine. But just, that's what works for them based on their life, based on their thought patterns, their past, so many other things. So again, take this advice with a grain of salt, question these people, question me, question Liz,
question me,
all of us.
Yeah.
We're happy to answer these questions. We want to know the truth. You know, the truth is the truth, no matter what. So that's what we're all here. We're here to find our truth and whatever it is. Everybody's got their own, you know, perspective on what life is. But yeah, that's the focus. Oh, yeah, so good.
The truth. I know. And then that comes into another conversation of what is the truth for one person might be their belief system that isn't ideal. And again, that's like our truth, right? But it's the truth. It's like if you are under eating and you are having a dysfunctional relationship with food and you're saying it's your truth, right? There's a conflict.
I know,
right? Because some people will say like, this is my truth, right? Like maybe intermittent fasting or whatever they're doing. It's like, this is my truth. So it's true for me, but it's like, but why are you doing it? Like, it is a form of restriction because we're day eaters. We fast when we sleep, and that's how it is. And I feel like people don't realize how incredibly beneficial sleep is as opposed to fasting. And if 98% of people who have digestive issues have an eating disorder, right, or vice versa. It's like if you have digestive issues, then there's probably some kind of broken relationship with food in there somewhere. Because you are choosing these foods that are feeding a different kind of bacteria, and then you try to eat these foods and it's not working. So then you might do some restrictive practices and feel good in the moment. So it becomes your truth. And then what happens later on, like you said, what happens later on down the road after you've restricted? After you come out of that and now you're going back to maybe older habits, or you're trying to create new ones and it's not working because you haven't dealt with that core foundation yet. So
it's so true. Oh my gosh, you get it so much. That's why I love our chats, and that's why I'm like, we need to talk about this in an open environment, because it sounds like people are liking this for the most part. They're feeling like it's, hey, better than therapy. I mean, no, I mean, don't avoid therapy. Obviously, Instagram is not therapy, but I mean, it's true. Like, just our mental health is everything. It's really more important than a diet. I know that triggers a lot of people. I'm sorry if it does, but your mental health is more important than the perfect diet. And that's just facts. Of course, create what you want, your ideal, but don't beat yourself up if you're not achieving this ideal every single day or whatever it is, because you, at the end of the day, you are worthy of nourishment. Always. You're worthy of love as well, and that's nourishment is love, right? So I mean, it's love to yourself. You're making these self-loving choices every single day, and that will nourish your body on that level. So again, why are you making these choices? Just ask yourself with every little choice that you make, you know, with regards to food, with regards to buying a crystal, but whatever it is, like, I mean, no matter what, right? So like,
a good example would be like raw cacao powder, right? If I make a smoothie with raw cacao powder, why am I putting the raw cacao powder in there? Because there's people online that say it's too stimulating, and there's people who say it's toxic, and there's people who say it's not human food, and there's people who say all kinds of things. And I mean, like, sure, for some people they believe that, but in my body, I feel fine. It doesn't irritate me. I feel perfectly fine. And I'm not choosing it out of or I'm not choosing it because I'm scared of it, right? If I was to be like, to look at the raw cacao and be like, I read that post and they said it was bad, so maybe I shouldn't eat it, even though it doesn't affect me at all. But if I started noticing something like, I can't sleep if I eat it after 6 o'clock. Maybe I won't do that anymore, right? If that's what listening to your body is all about. Listening to those subtle signs when you do something, and then just adjust. Like, don't feel bad, be like, oh, I shouldn't have had that cacao. No, instead you say, interesting observation. Maybe tomorrow I'll drink it earlier or not, right? And or just,
exactly. You know, because we're taking on other people's beliefs from the whole online world. Like, oh, this is what they believe, so I'm taking that on too. And you may have a completely different experience with it, you know, so that's okay. But generally speaking, people, in the most part, I mean, we have these different experiences because of the different choices that we make, especially our thought patterns, because this just dictates everything. If you're not happy with what you're actually doing, then is it worth it? You know, I mean, is it? Because life is temporary. We never know. We're not promised tomorrow, I guess, you know? So how, you know, why are we stressing over these little things that in the next 5-10 years aren't going to matter?
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
So,
exactly. And we're going to look back, like you said, or that reel was like, you're going to look back and be like, why did I think I was trying to be perfect? And then you wish, I mean, we can all get nostalgic for the past because that's just how we are as humans. We like had good times, or we miss certain people or places and stuff. And it's okay to look back and enjoy the memory or whatever. But it's like, we feel guilty that we didn't change back then or whatever. And it's like, it's such a
guilt and shame,
regret.
Those are lower on the totem pole, like you were talking about with words and how they create, you know, make different feelings and emotions and all that stuff. Guilt, shame, I mean, down here, it pulls you down. And you want to talk about detoxing your body. You feel any form of guilt and shame, that's going to slow down your detox, misters. So Mr. Detox dude. So you really want to focus on detoxifying your body. Detoxify your thoughts, please. Detoxify the statements that you make about food, that you're projecting out to the world because you have some sort of food fear. That is not helpful, and that's not helpful for your body and anybody else's. So important how we're talking about food and the message that we're putting out to the world, because it affects people. I mean, it conditions people no matter what. We're on social media. We are affected by social media. So that's why just question these things. That's all. Question the people making them the statements. That's how you find the truth. That's how you find, is that statement true or not? Can I question it? Can I dig deeper? What does that mean? What does that mean to you? Can you explain what you mean? Well, no. Okay, well...
Yeah, and a lot of times when you ask somebody to explain something, they're going to explain it from their perspective, and they might sound really convincing. And I feel like you take with a grain of salt anything that someone says, like, this is the way, or you have to do this, or when they start using absolutes, like there's zero nutrition in cooked food. As soon as someone says that, I shut down, because I'm like, there is nutrition in cooked food. Right? There just might be different nutrition in raw food. And
or there's less antioxidants. You know, cooking your food reduces the antioxidants. Oh, wait, does it? Let's...
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't. In some cases, it doesn't. So we can't make those absolute statements on certain things because there's so many different truths here and there. And yeah, the bold statements don't work, right?
They definitely don't. We had a question that I wanted you to answer. Because I love your perspective. Can you both, she says, can you both talk about raw and caloric intake depending on the individual?
Yeah. I mean, depending on the individual, everyone has individual needs. We all have different days, like with work and children and life and whatever it is. So there's certain guidelines that you should shoot for, right? You know, there's certain, you know, there's general, like, you know, numbers, but it's, again, going to be different for each person. And that's why the 1,200 calories, you know, that these diet culture is recommending to other people, that's enough for a toddler. So, I mean, that's the problem. But it depends on the person and how they're living life and what their goals are. But still, at the end of the day, 1,200 calories for an adult working human, you know, that's not sitting on under a tree meditating all day, even still, you would need energy for that. But still, yeah.
Yeah.
there's a general understanding of how much that we would need. And I would say, you know, over 2,000, 2,200, I think that's the number for a sedentary person. I mean, if you're not doing anything too, what would you say on that for you?
Yeah, I would say definitely 2,000, 2,200, and because I eat 2,400, and I would say moderately active. But when I am like actively active, I tend to eat a little bit more. And the reason why we know how much we eat is because we've studied it and we've tracked it. And that's the thing that people kind of, they shun calorie counting because they're like, no, you can't calorie count because we need food freedom. And yes, we do need food freedom, but we also need food education, right?
Yes.
So there's a difference between the two. We still need to learn about what the fuel is that we're putting in and what it looks like, because most people have no idea what 2,000 calories looks like on a high raw or even a plant-based diet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have to learn about what we're putting in our body, and it's not a lifelong crutch like people feel.
Yes.
You don't have to get obsessed with it. Just use it as a tool to learn. Just another learning.
And that's why the why with people in diet culture and all that, they track their calories because they didn't want to go over that amount. They wanted to restrict the calories. So the intention on the why is important in this case. So you come to the raw vegan land or whatever, we're like, we track it to make sure we're getting enough and more than enough, because it's like, it's so easy to undereat on this way of living and eating, you know? So that's why it's important for the most part. But I'm sure you and I, with our clients and what we deal with, when we learn what the person is eating, most of the time, vegan or not, they're not eating enough calories. Most meat eaters, people who eat animal products, are still under eating. Most people that are dealing with, you know, excess weight that they want to get rid of, they're under eating as well for a very long time. So, you know, eating enough calories is essential. It's not the answer for everything, because it depends on the person's past and where they're coming from, because most of the time people have been restricting at such a young age. So they've been eating 1,200 to 1,500 calories, you know, through the development process. I mean, the body still develops until age 25. You're not fully developed. So now we got, you know, teenagers and early 20-year-olds falling for the detox disorder stuff. And it's like, hold up, they're not even fully developed yet. So they could actually, you know, create even a further imbalance later in their life. So that's why it's extremely important, you know, that they don't fall for the restrictive stuff, because that could damage them long term.
And restriction doesn't even fall in just the calorie category, but restriction can also fall in the variety category, because we've got people out there who value minimalism, and there's nothing wrong with being minimalist, right? I mean, we all have too much stuff. But when it comes to our diets, minimalism can actually harm some people, right? Because if you get too minimal with your foods, too restrictive in that sense, then you're also starving out your gut microbiome, because they just can't flourish in different ways. And we got to have the variety too, not
Fruitarian call out. Fruitarian call out.
Variety is key. And I also like to say too, like, yes, we are frugivorous primates. Not arguing that. That's what we are, our genus, right? That's what we are as a species. But we are our own species. We have our own gut microbiome. We have our own needs. We have our own things that we should be looking for, and we thrive on fiber variety. That's the new science that's coming out, showing that the more plants you eat, the stronger your gut microbiome is, the more different kinds of plants you eat.
So true. And eating seasonally too, based on where you're at too, eating what's in season, what's in abundance, what's grown locally, what's available to you. That makes a huge difference as well. So kind of playing with the variety and not getting stuck on this whole, you know, mono meal. Okay, I'm having a mono meal right now. This is a mono snack.
It's a snack.
It's a snack. Obviously.
I typically mono a meal a snack, because it's like a couple bananas or, you know, a few apples before a call or whatever, right? But my smoothies have sometimes like anywhere from 5 to 12 different fruits in them, right? I'm like, I'll load
You're the variety queen. Oh yeah, you really are. That's so true.
That's my top 2 things. I would say, if there's, you know, someone says like, what are the top things you value for health? And I'd be like, abundance and variety. That's really all it is, right? Eat enough and eat variety. and you're basically covered. I mean, sure, you can geek out and get into the science of stuff, because there's science on all kinds of things. Dr. Greger has some great videos on, you know, certain things and certain foods and why, but it's just the science. That's the thing. People tie their emotions to the science.
We're studying. Yeah, we're not studying, you know, these long juice cleanses. We're not. We don't have that research. We really have a lot of anecdotal evidence on that, which, I mean, again, follow these people in a couple of years, 3, 2, 1, X vegan. I mean, how many people have been right about this? I don't want to be right about this.
I don't want to be right about it.
That's the direction they head in.
Yeah, and we see it. And it's almost like we can see the future because we've seen the past.
Yeah.
Really. And that's why people can see the future, because they've seen the past, and they know what happens when certain people do certain things and they say certain things in a certain way.
Yeah.
Have these belief patterns and everything. It's like, it's only a matter of time. Really, right? Before they go back to their old beliefs, or they change their mindset because they felt too restricted, and it becomes this whole binge restrict with healthy and not, or what I mean, you don't even want to use like not healthy, right? And these words are so hard to get out of.
I know. Hey, we're all learning too.
Science does say there's some things that are better and whatever.
Of course. That's
yeah. So, but we see it. We see these patterns. It's restriction and then doing whatever, because they have to get out of the restriction, and then because they do that, then suddenly they feel like they need to go back into the restrictive phase. And I noticed and you've noticed this too, that people seem to disappear off social media for like 6 months or whatever, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they come back, their first post is, I'm back and I'm doing a cleanse or a detox, or I'm back on raw or whatever. And it's their way of justifying it in a way, or showing people that they're back on track. And of course we want to continue to choose healthier things, and like you're like, okay, now I feel like I need to make a change, and I feel better when I make a change, and it's just your mindset. But they seem to come back when there's struggles in their life, and they've been doing something behind the scenes that they're now kind of like absolving themselves of by on social media. So it's that's something to look at too.
So true. And people will validate that, and then that will help them to stay on that restrictive path to get those results that they can share with other people. But you're right, behind the scenes, we did not see the struggles or the binge eating, or, you know, going off their, you know, perfection diet or whatnot. So that's the tricky part of it, that we don't see, and we can't take what we're seeing on social media as truth anymore. We have to be able to question, you know, what actually works, because of course you're going to get a result by juice cleansing. Of course, everybody does. But how long can they sustain that? And do these people keep going back on them? Why do they keep going back on them? I thought they got a good result the first time around. It's just interesting.
And it's a constant circle over and over and over again. Instead of changing that foundation. Change the foundation. And I mean, I've coached with lots of people who've changed their foundation. They did every day just the positive mindset, the I am worthy, I want to choose raw, I want to eat this for breakfast, I want to do these things for myself, and therefore they do them. And with time, they build these new habits. They don't even need to do any of the restrictive stuff, because they're already there. They're at that point where they feel amazing. And I know I've had people tell me, Lissa, are you ever going to do a juice fast or anything? I'm like, I don't need one. I don't want one.
You've never, have you done one? I mean, you did those supplements and all that stuff.
Yeah, in the past I did. I did. I don't know how many times I've done the master cleanse, the lemonade, cayenne thing. And valuing the ideas from back then too, right? Like 100 years ago or whatever. We seem to value ancestral stuff, right? Like our ancestors did it, or
our ancestors,
right? Our ancestors did it, so it must have been good. But they did it because it worked for them in the moment. But that doesn't
survival.
It doesn't mean that it's ideal for humans in general. But that's what they thought would be good. And so they did it. And a lot of stuff, like even talking about like going back to animal products or certain cooked foods and stuff, it depends on your area, right? Like if you're up in the north, like you said, and we didn't have convenience stores, what would we eat? We would kind of we would just eat for survival. And when we're looking back on our ancestors, what our ancestors did, they did pretty much everything for survival purposes. They chose these things for survival purposes, and we can't look back and see a culture that was only eating raw food, because I mean, if you're in the north, they're not going to be any cultures.
No, and they were moving, they were basically acquiring land in that way. I mean, everyone's trying to conquer land and conquer people and all this stuff too. But I mean, people were spreading out to find their own land and their own space in that way. So yes, definitely survival. And they didn't have the internet. They didn't have multiple grocery stores. So regardless, we are so lucky and blessed, you know, with the technology and, you know, the knowledge that we have now. I mean, it's just so amazing. So regardless of your circumstances, kind of goes back to the respecting your body and respecting the food, wherever you're at in the world, you know, always just do your best. The last fourth agreement, always do your best.
Yeah.
Like no matter what anyone else is doing, of course you have your ideal. Like, of course we all have goals. We want to change this about ourselves or a situation or whatever it is. So we're going to have that goal. But mindfulness, be present with what you have, because everything that you have now, you once wished for, you once hoped or wanting to manifest, and now you have it. So be present with that and grateful, and just kind of stay with that moment, because we're always kind of, and that's what worrying and anxiousness will do. Kind of you're outside of the present moment. So that's why with food, you have food in front of you, just be so grateful with it and bless the food, because regardless of the type of food too, you know, with the soul, well, this isn't my perfect diet or this isn't that, just be so grateful, because there's plenty of people out there that would kill to have what you have, regardless of your ideal of the perfect diet. They would love to have that food. People are starving out there, and that's the perspective that we need, you know?
Yeah, and exactly. And then some people might come and say something like, well, if we just pray over our food, then we can eat whatever. And it's like, that doesn't absolve that, right? Like,
true, very true.
Heals your own perception of the food, right? It's not going to change and magically make the food good for you, right? Or good for you or whatever.
So true.
But it absolves your guilt and shame, which is more important in the long run, because then you realize maybe your body reacts to what you chose, right? Say you had the chips, but you ate the chips because you were having fun. But you had a dry mouth after when you woke up in the morning, and you're like, oh, it must have been the salt in the chips. I don't like the dry mouth, so next time I might not choose the chips because I don't want the after effect, right? And it's a subtle change in our mindset. So just
without taking on that guilt, without feeling guilt, oh, I feel so guilty, and powerless. People are giving away their power over food, you know, over food that's, you know, heavily marketed. We're heavily manipulated. Oh yeah, the human species, we're just so manipulated. Everybody wants to make money. We're manipulated online too, right? Buy my ebook, buy my coaching plan. Come fast with me. You will heal so much. Next level healing.
Next level, I know, and that's another,
because you're not good enough where you're at right now.
Yeah, that's implying that you're not good enough where you are next level or whatever. And it's like, it's just a different choice, and you don't need to reach a level of perfection because you're perfect anyways. You might need to feel better, and you might need to make different choices in order to do so, but always do it out of a place of self-love and not restriction. Yeah.
Yes. So true. I know. Oh my gosh.
Such a loaded
really. And we're also thinking of like, oh, that's another post. That's another that's another live. That's another thing.
Oh my gosh.
Right? There's so much.
It's so deep. And you know, like I was saying about the article about orthorexia, like when I read it, I was like, I felt offended by it.
Yeah.
And people feel offended by some of the things that we might talk about because they just can't see it from that perspective, that it's not their fault. It's diet culture and the obsession with being healthy and perfect that's the problem, not them. It's not them at all. It's that they're stuck in this, and then they feel pain when someone says that. Because I was like, what? I don't have orthorexia, right?
Yeah.
You know, just looking back at it, it's like, choose healthy because you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You have to.
Mm-hmm. And not over analyzing it to the point you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. You're taken out of the present moment. Whatever takes you out of the present moment better be worth it. And if it's not, if it's creating anxious thoughts and all that stuff, it ain't worth it. That's for sure. So present moment awareness is key, you know, with where you're at right now, with what you have, everything that's around you right now. Wow. Oh my gosh. I manifested these things in my life, no matter what it is. Wow, I am that powerful. I'm not going to give my power away to anybody else, to anyone online in real life, just to, you know, make me feel a certain way. And I was onto something with the fasting thing as far as the, you know, come fast with me, level up. You're not it's almost like you're not, what's the word? It's kind of exploitation at this point. I mean, let's just keep it real. A lot of coaches and people are out there kind of manipulating, exploiting people, exploiting their weaknesses, because yes, a lot of people are suffering, and these people will do anything to not suffer, right? So they're vulnerable. So there's people preying on other people's insecurities and vulnerabilities, and that ain't good. But in that way, I mean, it's almost saying they're not good enough at where they're at right now, especially inside. Level up. I mean, what does that even mean in that way? Because I've been there. I thought my health was going to level up. It definitely leveled down for a long time. And I did it all. I did it perfectly. And you want to talk about being, yes, and supervised and doing it, you know, so, and every person's going to react differently, true. But I feel like I was gaslit in this community, because it's like, oh, you didn't do it right. I did. Here's all the steps. Here's what I did in that way. And people just deny your experience in that. And, you know, maybe they're experiencing it and they won't admit it until many years down the road. Who knows? But I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, people will hold on to that because they don't want to admit that there's another side of the story.
Yeah.
Which I by far feel, because I get tons of messages I hear from many people, and it's truly heartbreaking. I feel like if somebody's going to discount the experience of another person that might not be what they assume it would be, right? Like if you're claiming something is, like if you're claiming even raw food is going to heal everything, right?
Yeah.
If somebody says something like that, that's when you have to question, right? Okay, maybe not. But if they're questioned and they say, no, that's not true, they're discounting these other stories where it's like it didn't work, and they went and followed all the rules, and it's not working for them, or they're struggling too much. And it's like, if you're going to discount those people, then I don't know if I can fully trust what is being said here, because you're not allowing for the other people to have their experiences. Because if you're allowed to have your experience, then they're allowed to have their experience too. And you have to come together and really understand why these people are having these negative experiences, and why is it so many?
Yes, and why does it keep happening? It keeps happening, and we're looking at the patterns. And why aren't people successful? Basically, ex-vegan, like people just going back to animal products and feeling so amazing. I feel so great. Okay, well, you and I look at it. Okay, why? What were they doing in their past? Most likely very restrictive behaviors, watermelon island, and, you know, lemon cleanses and all this stuff, excessive fasting, under eating, all that stuff. So that's valid, that's there, and that's the pattern that will come up and make somebody less successful and staying on, you know, what they believe in that way. Because, you know, these people really gung-ho on this. They're on social media, they're coaching other people, so it's kind of a big deal too.
It is a big deal. And what would you say to somebody who might be feeling like, but like they get on social media and they see someone who's very convincing and very charismatic and very, like, what they say sounds true. What would you say to people who might be like drawn to that kind of thing? How to differentiate?
Well, I mean, yeah, still it goes back to keep asking questions, because what you're seeing is not, I mean, there's so much more behind the scenes. So how can we get behind the scenes? Well, you can keep following or whatnot, see how long this person is consistent, but just keep asking questions. That's really it. Asking questions will kind of break through any assumptions that you have, and that helps you get to know the person who's, you know, projecting this information or sharing this information. because most of the time, depending on the question and depending on what you're raising the awareness to, that could be, you know, a reason for someone just to feel defensive and all that stuff, to come back like, oh, no, that's not what I meant, and you're so mean, you're so you're so this, you're so that. And it's like, I just asked a question, or I just raised awareness about your bold statement. And somebody's behavior after that fact is going to show a lot about, you know, whatever their belief system is. Is it a strong belief? You know, are they open to, you know, people questioning things and whatnot? So you got to look at the patterns and the behavior behind the scenes, I would say.
Yeah. And I would add to that, I would add the use of fear-based language and absolutes. If they tend to constantly use absolutes like zero nutrition, or this cures everything, or this will help you, guaranteed, right? If there is one thing that I learned when I started working in natural health, and I started when I was 21, so 21 years ago tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, wow.
21 years ago, when I first started working there, the number one thing that they taught me was never use an absolute, which is an absolute in itself. But never use an absolute when it comes to health information, because there are no absolutes, none whatsoever. And like, because you're dealing with somebody's health, and if you're selling them a supplement and you're going to say this is totally going to help you, they're going to believe it, they're going to expect it, and if it doesn't, they're going to be disappointed, and they're going to create these other relationships with supplements or with food or with whatever. It's like, raw food is going to heal you, you'll never get sick when you go raw. These are untrue absolute statements. And I know people, I felt the same way when I first went raw. I had it on a pedestal. I'm like, raw is amazing, raw is amazing. And when someone else was like, no, well, it's okay to have a little cooked food in your salad, I was like, no, right? You should be raw, right? But I really, over the years, have really questioned that belief. Like, why did I have raw on a pedestal? And why did I believe that a cup of quinoa was not good in a salad, right? And it was just because these absolutes, you have to be 100% raw. It's like, no, you just need to eat raw food. Just eat raw food, whether you cook it or not, it doesn't matter. Just eat more raw food until whatever, that's all you want, maybe one day or whatever. Like, there's no rules. It's like the rule thing really bugs me too, like food combining rules. That's food combining rules, or you should eat this with that and whatnot. And it's like, okay, so basically look at the science. Fat with your greens, fruit alone, that's pretty much it. Like, everything else is fair game for your body. What's a rule for someone might not be a rule for you, because our gut microbiomes are so different. So somebody will tell me like, oh, why are you blending honeydew with strawberries and bananas? That's like totally a no-no. But my body digested just fine, and I love it, and it feels good. So, you know, like, just because it's a rule for you, you can't apply that to absolutely everyone on the planet and say, you cannot do this, otherwise you're doing something bad to your body, when it's like fruit. It's not bad. Right?
It is not. It is not. You know, thanks to Chris recently too, because I've always, because I followed those food combining rules for many years, but I'm good right now. So when I saw Chris, something about like melons, blending that with oranges or whatnot, and I was like, I'm gonna try that. Like, just because for so long I just stuck with the, you know, it is restrictive in a sense, but it just worked for me and whatnot. But I pushed that boundary a little bit, and it felt good. I felt rebellious in a way, and it's fine. It's all good. You know, it didn't negatively impact me in that way, but this whole belief about it can truly affect you. Now, that's not to take away from someone with severe gut issues where they need to kind of keep things simple. Like, yes, food combining is there in that guide, but it's not a forever thing, because you don't want to stick with this whole like eating one thing at a time for the rest of your life and whatnot. That's not the goal. The goal is balance, right? Always. And you don't want to stay on these things.
Yeah, build the relationship with yourself, build your gut microbiome, build the variety, right? Adding more in slowly. Someone had asked earlier, in the chat about how you would add things back if you're experiencing gas and bloating on raw. It's like you stick with those things that work, right? Like if the food combining is working for you right now and it's not irritating or causing any issues, then yes, work with that. But then slowly add the other stuff in. Like and we're not talking slowly. I'm not talking like a cup of cauliflower. It's like one little floret.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
Like chop it really fine, small, and sprinkle it on your salad. Just to
introduce it.
Yeah, introduce it slowly. And with time, patience is like the number one thing that humans don't have enough of. The patience. Is with time, you can add more. It's like going to the gym. You're not going to go to the gym and suddenly lift 80-pound weights.
Just
right? You got to start with the 5s. Go for a week or 2. Increase it to 8s. Go for another week or 2. And there's no shame in that either, because you're building, you're consciously loving your gut microbiome by giving it these little bits of variety here and there. And then you'll notice, you'll be like, oh, I can do 2 florets just fine. And I'm fine. But if I do 4, oh, that's a little too much for now, right? And go back down to 2 and just work with that. And then once you're good with broccoli, and you don't have to eat, it's not like you're eating 2-3 cups of broccoli a day. You're eating, because you're eating all different kinds of other variety. But just when you're comfortable with that, then add a little cabbage in and try cabbage for a little bit. And because there's so many people who say like cabbage and broccoli and whatever else, all these things
cruciferous vegetables are hard to digest and anti-nutrients and all this stuff, and it's like, well, not necessarily. There's sulforaphane, I mean, anti-cancer properties right there is so beneficial to the body. So again, just because these people can't digest these foods for whatever reason, maybe due to their restrictive past, maybe due to so many other reasons, that's not to say that these foods are bad in that way. Why are we labeling these foods just because a group of people are having issues with them? Why are they having issues with those foods? That's the biggest question. And what can we do to improve it? So
looking at the science, moving forward, not looking back. Right?
And you know, you can actually, like, I don't eat a lot of cauliflower a lot. I make Chris's soup a lot, the lemon rice soup. I really enjoy that. I don't really eat it a whole lot, but I'm not sitting over here on my social media demonizing cauliflower, whether someone cooks it or eats it raw and like raw sushi or whatnot. That's the problem that I'm finding issues with, you know, health advocates or coaches. They're demonizing perfectly healthy foods that they just don't like. They have a preference, or they, you know, just believe in whatnot, you know, with the raw food world or whatnot. But yeah, it's not helpful. It's not helpful in healing to people when we make those absolute statements on certain foods.
And then if someone eats an innocent food, they feel like they're bad and they feel like they failed. And it's like, you didn't fail. You didn't fail. A failure is just a chance, an opportunity to learn about what your choice was. Really, that's all it is. Like, if you made a different choice, if you ate the cooked broccoli, analyze it for what it was. How did it make you feel? How did you feel eating it? Did you feel guilty or shameful? Maybe it's time to think about why you're feeling that way, right? If it was fine on your body, it's fine. Like, and people say, well, oh, you feel fine now, but what about later on down the road? It's like later on down the road, if you'll still have a healthy relationship with food, right? Later on down the road, somebody who is restrictive may come into some serious issues. So it's like, it's not the food. It's not the food. People want to say, well, but junk food, but it's not the food. It's not.
It's not. Yeah. Because that food is going to be out there because people are creative. People, I mean, junk food, however you want to look at it. I mean, people are creative. They're like, we're going to make the tastiest type of food. I mean, props to them. They're creative. They're an artist in that way. And some people just are foodies in that sense, where they just, I love the taste of this. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, you are worthy to nourish your body however that may look. But again, you're not, you know, you can't avoid consequences due to certain, you know, optimal and suboptimal foods and whatnot. Of course, that is real. But for a healthy relationship with food, you know, with fear and guilt coming to the surface, if you're feeling that, that is no bueno, no good.
Exactly. I know. And people say like, well, I have to eat the pizza to be okay with the pizza. But you don't have to eat the pizza to be okay with eating pizza. I'm okay with eating pizza. I just don't want it. Or I'll just make a raw version.
You
right?
make a delicious raw.
Yeah.
I know you have become so creative in your like artistry and chefing and all that. You've created these masterpieces too, and you've made it fun, and that's what you want to do. You want to make it fun, and you want to make it creative, and that's why I've always loved raw foods. I'm like, what? These people in these restaurants, from across the world and country, just they're creating these like works of art that taste amazing, that are, and even vegan too, cooked vegan. I mean, wow, whatever people out there are eating with regards to animal products, we can make vegan and or raw, and that's the coolest thing ever. So if we can look at that from like an appreciative standpoint, like, wow, this is really cool, then that will help you continue to stay on the path. But anytime the fear and guilt and shame comes to the surface with regards to food, you really have to assess that relationship with it, because holding on to that will not help benefit your health in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, and we're talking about how you can eat anything that a non-vegan can eat. You can make vegan or even raw. It's interesting because I saw this just now. I saw an egg, and they had made the whites out of, I don't know if it was coconut or something, and then the yolk, they blended pumpkin and some other stuff, and then they dipped it in, I think, aquafaba that was whipped slightly. Yeah. And they encased it in like this thin case, and then they put it on top of the egg, and I was like,
and then you dig into it and it opens up, and you're like, oh my gosh, we created like a fake version of an egg.
And then people will say, well, why are the vegans making food that looks like animal products? And I'm like, we should be more concerned with how animals become animal products than how plants look like animal products.
Thank you. Like, exactly.
Why do we care? I mean, it's creativity, and that's really all it is. But some people feel so like it shouldn't look like a burger, or it shouldn't look like this. And it's like, ask yourself why you feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
All it is ground vegetables formed into a patty. That's all it is, right?
Well, we've conditioned children at a young age to eat these animal products to look like chicken nuggets or a burger. So, I mean, they're doing it that way. We can do it this way as well. So, I mean, you're questioning us. Why don't you question what you're doing? What we've done for so long, right?
And question what the industry is doing to us, right? Really diving deep into that question, like, why do we believe these things?
I know. It's good to be curious in nature. You're curious, George. Like, why is this? I mean, we need to ask more of these questions. We need to, and then to hold people accountable too. Like people putting out absolute statements and all that stuff. It is no hate. We're looking for the truth. Like, I'm looking for the truth, and I'm sharing my truth and what's worked for me for many years, and what I've questioned over and over, the patterns that I've seen work for me and many others. So what's wrong with questioning,
And that's how science grows. That's how we discover things, by questioning. So if somebody has an absolute statement like there is zero nutrition in cooked food, let's see the proof, because there is nutrition in cooked food.
Yeah.
They're
when you question these people, they got nothing for you. They really don't. They'll block you and just, oh, that person's a hater or whatnot. And this is the behavior we're seeing in this community, in the raw food world. So people are following, and they're very confused for good reason, because you got one person over here, another person over here, like saying, I question that stuff, and they're labeled as a hater. It's just like, what? How do we find the truth here?
Yeah, Come on. And then that's what confuses all the people reading the comments, and they're like, I don't know what to believe. Really dive. If you feel confused, if anyone feels confused, number one, ask questions. And if you still feel confused, really just listen to what is true for you, and love yourself. And again, know you're worthy. You're worthy of nourishment, and you're worthy of self-love, and you're worthy of love from others, and you're worthy enough to enjoy your life.
Yes, enjoy your life, and enjoy the food that you eat, that you choose. Just whatever it is, enjoy it. Don't choose something just because you have to and because you don't enjoy it. You really need to cultivate the feelings of enjoyment and happiness, because that grows, and that creates health. that is health right there. It's not just the food that we're eating, it's all the other behaviors surrounding the food that you're eating as well.
Exactly. We enjoy, we observe, and then we can adjust. And really, yeah, totally. It's just a choice. We make different choices, or we see like, oh, I struggled this day. Why did you struggle? Did you undereat? Did you go too long without eating? Were you scrolling on social media and you skipped some meals or whatever, right? Like, why do you feel this way? Why are you struggling? Just observe that in yourself. Yeah. And if you want to feel different tomorrow, then make a different choice, and that's all. And you are worthy yesterday, you're worthy tomorrow, you're worthy today, you're worthy at all times. All it is observation and adjusting.
I like that. I like how you say observation, because you're not connecting so much with that thought. Again, we're not our thoughts, right? Yes. So again, I'm observing this thought. I am not that thought. I'm stepping back from it because that's not me. I am not this, like, identifying. I'm not this diet. I'm not, just because I eat these foods, this is who I am or whatever. You are what you eat and all that. Yes, that's true. But in a sense of the mental health aspect that we're talking about here, your identity and how you perceive yourself. Yeah, there's so much more. So step back and observe. Put some space in between the thoughts that come up when, you know, you're thinking about food or scrolling through social media. I love that. That's a good point.
Right? And I remember it was about 3.5 years ago. It was right around the time that I met Nate. I had this epiphany, and I was like, okay, so for the first 3.5 years of my raw journey, I would wake up every morning, and it was such a habit that I didn't even think about it because I had thought about it every single morning. I'd wake up and say, today I'm a raw vegan. And then I would just choose my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was like, it's easy. I don't have to think about tomorrow. I don't have to think about being perfect for 10 years. All I have to do is focus on what I want today. And today I want raw, or today I am raw vegan, right? And I felt an identity with that, because I had constantly said, I am a raw vegan, I am a raw vegan. And yeah, it manifested, obviously, because I said it every day, and I did it every day.
And you're expert at it,
Yeah, but 3.5 years ago is when I feel like I finally broke out of the label. And now I say, I am Lissa, who happens to eat raw food, and who wants to eat raw food today. So I'm no longer my diet. Like I get,
love it.
We did used to feel these things because we've all come from diet culture, and it takes years to wrap our brains around it, because it's a neural pathway that's brand new. So that's why it takes time. We have to constantly be exposed to these new beliefs in order to replace the old ones. And I was talking with Chef AJ too about replacing, instead of fighting the old, just focus on the new. Because
build the new,
like, I have to stop eating this, and I have to stop doing that, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. Instead of focusing on it, do what you want to be doing, right?
Yes.
If you're like, I watch too much Netflix at night, instead say, I really want to go to bed early, right?
Yeah.
It's going to naturally stop you, right? It's totally all in the focus and what you're focusing on. If it's like, I'm eating so much junk food and I don't want to be doing this, and I feel guilty and I'm falling off and blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't focus on that. Focus on eating abundantly and eating high fiber foods, and the foods that you love, and the foods that you want, and the foods that make you feel good, instead of focusing on all these negative things. Because when we focus on these, they replace the old. We don't have to fight the old anymore.
Yes.
Deep
because
stuff.
We have the choice. Choose. You have the power. Take your power back. You are not powerless over, you know, certain things like, oh, I feel, you know, I fell off the wagon, like everybody says. I fell off the raw wagon. What is this raw wagon?
I know. And
who's on this wagon?
It's almost like if you're eating raw for like 3 months, and then suddenly you have a sweet potato, or you went over to someone's house and you ate whatever. Now all of a sudden you're a failure, and you have to start from day one. It's like, well, what about the last 3 months?
Yeah.
Right? How, you're just discounting that? Like, no, like whatever. Just keep choosing what makes you feel good, and if raw makes you feel good, choose that. But don't feel guilty about it. I always say, like if you're counting the days, right? I mean, I count my days on my YouTube channel, because I it's just interesting to see how many days I've been doing it, right? But if you're counting the days and you're like, oh, I've gone 806 days on raw or whatever, and then for some reason you eat some cooked food or whatever, and you're like, oh, now I'm on day one. It's like, well, can't you say you've been 807 days with a little
Yeah.
cooked food, right? On one of the days, like, you know, and these numbers, people like are obsessed with being this
The
and that and the
years
other
and
thing, the years and stuff. And yeah, it's great to say like, I've been raw for 7 and you've been raw
yeah.
for how long, right? But it's like, but what is raw? What is raw?
Yeah.
I mean, some people say if you eat 70% raw, you can consider yourself a raw vegan. But again, that's someone's opinion.
Yeah,
right?
It really is.
It's another label. And to break free from the label is just to focus on eating stuff you want to eat.
Yes.
So
and make sure you want to. You want to continue it, because you can get bogged down for a long time on this, because again, if you're comparing yourself with other people online too, like, oh, I'm falling off this wagon. Who created the wagon? Like, you build your own wagon. This is your life. So what do you want out of it? You know, regardless of what you see other people doing. What do you want? Of course, people, I want health. I want a healthy life. I want to get rid of suffering and whatnot. I mean, generally that's an accepted, you know, agreement on what we want as a whole. But yeah, we all want health. How do we achieve health? Many different things, not just the food. Our thoughts surrounding the food itself are even more powerful.
Yeah, we have a really interesting question here. She's asking, how do you manage to get raw vegan food while traveling with a tight schedule? And then they continue with, I went to Disneyland for vacation and I had no options to get vegan or raw vegan food. I had an upset stomach after that. So it's like, it's difficult because we shouldn't feel guilty for eating what we need to eat in certain situations. Like, you know, like even people in food deserts who can't get fresh food, they shouldn't feel guilty because they can't be raw, right? Like, we shouldn't be gaslighting these people who maybe only have access to hybrid fruit, right? Like, I'd rather see someone eat hybrid fruit than not eat hybrid fruit, or like, because there's no other fruit to eat, right? I'd rather see them eat that. I'd rather see people eat non-organic food than to restrict themselves because they can't afford it or they don't get the variety. Right? It really depends on the availability. And yes, some things might not agree with the body, but don't feel guilty because that was your only choice.
Yeah, and it was Disneyland, so I hope you had an amazing time, right? I mean, of course, anytime you travel, your way of eating is going to get tripped up a little bit. Like, that's for everybody. Anytime you travel, you're out of the element. You're not focused on food. You're focused on fun and, you know, going around. But yes, you do need to fuel yourself. So in that moment, the choices that you have there, you just make the best choice and not feel guilty. And again, do your best with whatever situation that you're in. And then just make better choices, because you're not in Disneyland forever. So, or Disney World or wherever you're at. But world.
And exactly. And then there comes in the planning aspect, right? And like, if you want to, or if you're expecting something, then
you can plan
your own fruit if you can, or whatever. But if you didn't, don't feel guilty. You may have
You're just learning next time. Next time you can do differently. No worries. Life is a learning process. Hindsight 2020. Oh my gosh. And I'm like that a lot. Like, oh, I could have done that. I should have done that. We all do that, right? So hindsight 2020, just keep trying, keep doing better, but like, don't put down that experience just because you didn't know and you thought later, oh, I could have done this. Well, yeah, you could have, but I'm glad you were at least in the moment and were present and you had fun. That's the most important thing.
Exactly.
Like, you actually had fun. That's why you go to these places.
And it comes back to the 3 words. I just wrote them down because I'm like, I'm totally making a video on this, but enjoy, observe, and adjust.
Oh, I like that. I love it. That's so good.
Yeah, exactly. Because we can all, I mean, when Nate and I go traveling, we just naturally are like, okay, what are we going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Oh, I want to have this and I want to have that. And oh, we should go shopping and buy the food. So we do, and we make it, and then we go and we enjoy and we have fun, right? Yes. But if there was ever an opportunity to, like, or not an opportunity, but a situation where we only had certain choices, I mean, it's never happened, but if it was to happen, it would be like, okay, well, this is the only thing. Like, what about a food shortage? What happens if there's no fresh raw food? What do we do in that case? Yes, we should all be prepared in cases like that, right? That's an obvious thing.
Yeah.
But there's only so much you can prepare for. There's only so much food you can grow yourself in your garden. There's only so much you can do. And especially if you live in a food desert, especially if you don't have the finances for it, these people feeling guilty for not being able to be raw is sad, because maybe they're eating 50% raw, and that's raw to them because that's what they can do with what situation they're in. And that's a beautiful thing, because it's not about being pure and perfect. It's about adding more based on where you're at in your life.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. So true. You know, regardless of what a group of people will think of, like, oh, that's not, they're not doing it right or whatever. Still, it doesn't matter. All that matters is how you think about yourself. At the end of the day, at the end of your life, all that matters is how much, it's really the capacity that we have to love. That's what we bring with us when we, you know, transform whatever to the next world or what's going on. Nobody really knows, right? But still, we don't bring our bodies with us. We leave them here. So this is all temporary. What matters is what's in here every single day, every single second. And that's why mental health is more important.
Yeah,
I know. It's true. Mental health is so important, and we're not focused on it. And that's what I want to keep raising awareness to, especially in regards to food. I did write something down that I kind of wanted to say. I forget where it was. Something about, no, we talked about that. Everyone wants food freedom, but no one wants to stop controlling their food and weight. You can't solve binge eating and food obsession with the same restrictions that created them. So that whole statement, I was like, oh, I just want to say that just so people can pick that up, because it's true. We want freedom in a sense. Like, freedom is right here. We have access to that because, I mean, we're just bogged down by so much, the belief systems, especially, you know, like what we believe controls us to a certain point. So that's why you want to question your beliefs, constantly question your beliefs. I don't believe the same things that I used to believe 10 plus years ago.
Me neither.
Right? Same for you.
Yeah. Even when I first went raw, there's a lot of things that I used to believe that I don't believe anymore. And that doesn't mean I'm eating cooked food, but now I'm like, I'm okay with cooked food. Whereas before I wasn't, because I was stuck in that mindset.
No, that's really healthy. Yeah. And I've seen that transformation. I've transformed too within my whole, you know, ideal, how I look at a raw food diet and all that stuff with regards to cooked food, because I include cooked food in my diet too, on and off. You know, I definitely have raw days that last many weeks. But where I'm at, you know, it just works for me. And it just, I'm waiting for this cooked food to create toxicity in my body, and it's just not happening because I'm running and I have tons of energy and digestion is great. So it's like, where are these people getting these concepts from? I want to know. I genuinely want to know, because, you know, if this is happening on a mass scale within the raw vegan community, what can we do to change this? Is there an issue? Are people falling for, you know, something? I mean, it's okay to be raw if that's what you want to be raw. But again, why do you want to be raw, and what are you doing about it? And are these feelings, these negative feelings, coming up in that process for you? Because if they do, it's not worth it. Yeah, exactly. It's not worth it. And really got to rethink. We got to rethink ourselves. And like you said, constantly questioning our own beliefs. Because that's how we grow. And when we're stagnant in our beliefs, then we can't grow. We can't learn. Someone's asking about, is raw frozen equally good in nutritional value? Like frozen peas or canned sweet corn or olives or whatever. What would you say about that? I mean, this is, I know, obvious. Yeah. It's the nitty obvious. What's the, like, we know that if you grow something in your backyard at prime season, like, there's going to be a lot of bioavailable nutrients there for you. But I will say, if you're carrying over that negative mindset or fear mindset when it comes to food, like you're fearing, like, oh, I have to eat perfect because of this and that and whatnot, then you're still eating like the perfect idealized backyard, you know, locally grown food. Are you absorbing all those nutrients? I mean, that's debatable. We can't really measure that. That's going to be very, very difficult to measure. But in theory, we're just questioning these things. You know, is it just as nutritious? Well, yeah, on the outside it is. There's more nutrition in that food. But depending on what your mental state and where you're coming from, are you going to absorb all the nutrients from that, it really depends. I can't say. Now this is frozen jackfruit right here. Oh my gosh, I love jackfruit so much. Of course it's frozen. We're headed to winter here, and I don't, you know, the jackfruits that they have at the grocery store, they cut up and they're unripe, right? So it's like, I'll get the frozen stuff and whatnot. This works for me, right?
And
because it gives me that taste, and I like it, and it feels good, and I feel good doing it. So I don't know, I'm gonna say I'm absorbing just as much nutrients. You know, obviously, of course, a fresh jackfruit is gonna be amazing. I don't have access to that. I don't, and that's just fact. I can travel to go somewhere that has jackfruit, but even still, I just did that this summer and only had a couple of bulbs.
Oh, I know.
So I mean, it's all good. I had it. It was there. But you know, like eating it every day in abundance, it's just like sometimes that's just not, you know, reality for people. And you do your best. But again, this is good enough for me, and I'm just fine. Of course, we know it's not optimal, but why you're gonna make yourself feel bad just because you can't? We all know homegrown, you know, not fresh produce, organic, all that stuff is really ultimately the best. But just because we don't have access to that all the time doesn't mean we should feel any less, because we're worthy, and we deserve to feel good. So why are you going to make yourself feel worse just because you can't get perfect?
I know. And some frozen food is actually picked right because it can freeze it right away. So you're getting riper fruit when it's frozen than if you were buying fresh mangoes out of season that tasted like wooden string, right?
Yes. So true. So I know,
we're comparing. It's like we're trying to compare what's best, but it's like there's so many factors that come into play with what's best. Right? And we don't know.
Very, hi Nate, where's my kiss?
What is up? Are you guys just having all kinds of fun out here?
Oh yeah,
we kind of are.
2 hours and 16 minutes.
Was it? Oh my god!
You guys, it hasn't stopped?
It just kept going. We're still live. We're still going.
That is so awesome.
This is a good topic.
Super good. I was listening to you guys, and it's like, people loving it. This is the kind of podcast we should be recording this and put it on.
I know. I'm gonna put this on my podcast. I'm also gonna save it for anyone who's wondering, so it'll be on my IGTV, so you can go watch it. And oh man, we could talk forever. So we're gonna schedule another live.
You guys need to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do another one.
Yeah, you guys got to get more.
Yeah, because it's good.
With Nate as the special guest.
Yes.
With this beautiful mountain man.
With raw.
Look at that majestic beard.
Raw vegan beef, unripe mangoes.
Oh, you guys are awesome.
I love it.
Oh,
yay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ginger.
Thank you. This was amazing.
Yeah. Hey, did I interrupt? I didn't mean to stop.
No, it's okay.
No, it's
I am feeling like I need to eat some food.
Yes, good. I would like to finish this, Jack. We're going to honor our hunger cues because we love ourselves here.
Exactly.
And we need to eat.
And I'm not going to feel guilty that it's within some time frame or whatever. It's
I know.
If my body's hungry, I'm going to eat even if it's 8 o'clock at night. Check out that salad.
Ooh, yummy.
Yeah, we got
variety.
Varieties.
Yes.
Good stuff. Oh my gosh.
This was amazing.
So Happy is saying you should end this with a card reading.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Do they want me to pull a card?
Yeah, would you like?
I was thinking that. I was like, just grab your cards and just okay. Nate sat down. I'm going to have to grab them. I don't have them here. I have my crystals right here. Okay. Someone wants a card, we will give them a card.
Okay. She's going to go grab her card. Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This live has been a long time coming. I really wanted to have Ginger on because it's where I want to take my channel and like what I'm talking about and everything, because yes, raw foods are amazing, and yes, we need to be eating more raw foods, and yes, this is an important topic, but the mindset, our relationship with food is almost more important than what we eat. So, if not more important,
so
I agree. Yeah. Oh, they all want to
preach. Okay, I got 2 decks. So this will be easy. I didn't whip out the tarot because that's a little too intense for people. So this is the Moonology deck. So, oh my gosh, I'm live here. Oh jeez.
Yeah, go follow.
I can't just like force
Ginger.
I know. No, we can't force it. We just like all of you watching. Give Ginger the energy. What do we need as a group here?
Yeah, what do we need?
What do we need?
Hey, luck is on our side.
Ooh.
All of us. Luck is on your side.
Nice.
We can always access luck. That's good. That's a little boost
Mhm.
because it's there for us, right?
Yeah.
So I like that. That
Love
was
that.
the new moon in Sagittarius.
Ooh.
Hey.
Birthday girl tomorrow.
Yes.
You're very close to achieving your goal. All of us.
All
I mean,
of
we are.
us.
We're constantly
Yeah.
working
Awesome.
towards our goals. Everybody has a goal, and we want to focus on it. Great, but don't feel any less just because you're not achieving it. Because
Oh my
what you again, present moment awareness, practice mindfulness. Everything that you have right here, you manifested. You once wanted. So that really helps you to manifest and achieve other goals that you have going on too. So last one on this one. Oh, beautiful. Prosperity lies ahead.
Yay!
So true. And look at this, new moon in Taurus. Hello.
Wow.
We have a Taurus and a Sagittarius with us right
So
here.
cool.
Wow.
That is cool.
That is cool.
Both of you guys.
You know,
And
it's
then
also
one
cool.
more.
One
This is a self-care deck. I really like this one. This is a good one.
Oh, that's a good deck.
Oh my gosh.
What were you gonna
The
say?
pressure.
I was gonna say, someone mentioned in here that you guys should do this once a month at least.
Aww. I
I'm
like
down.
that idea.
That would be
I'm
rad.
down.
Yep.
That'd be
I'm
rad.
here for it.
Yep.
Journal. So I think
Oh.
everybody really needs to, and what you just did, Lissa, you just like wrote down a couple of things, and you're always in creative mode.
Yeah.
So like just writing things down. It doesn't have to be like a long journal entry or whatnot. I find this essential too. Writing down just my thoughts, what happened, just to like process your emotions and feelings about a certain situation or something, just to kind of put it down on paper or your phone or whatever it is. Just process that. Just write it down or write your goals down, right? Because writing anything down, similar to words, you're kind of speaking it, writing it into existence. So
Yeah.
And also,
yeah, and then you'll be
to reflect on what we've been talking about all night, journal how you feel about food. Journal
Yes.
about your relationship. Journal to yourself and talk about that with yourself, because that's so important. We don't write letters to ourselves at all. I don't know.
oh yeah.
Right? Write letters to yourself and tell yourself you're amazing. Because, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's huge.
That's perfect.
Mhm.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
Such
I
great advice.
Everybody,
Thank you.
everybody,
I
let's all
love this
write
whole
letters
thing.
to ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. I'm going to go do that right now after I eat a lot more food because
Yes.
I am worthy.
Mhm. We are all
We
worthy.
all are.
Aw,
Yes.
I love it.
So worthy.
Well, thank you, Ginger. We're going to definitely
Thank
have
you.
you again. So, as always, everybody, we're going to be saving this live as an IGTV. I mean, let's hope the tech gods allow us to do so. Because, you know,
Let's
when it's like
hope.
over 2 hours, it's almost 2
I know,
hours.
dang.
Like, I'm like, I hope we're able to save this because,
Fingers
oh my
crossed.
gosh, it was so
Hopefully.
good. So much value.
Good.
So, thank you very
Happy
much.
birthday tomorrow.
Woo!
Sagittarius.
Yeah,
This is your day.
Sagittarius
So we're having an
firepower.
awesome day, an amazing weekend. You deserve it.
Aw.
Sagittarius goddess. So appreciate you and Nate. We could talk forever as we always do, but
Yeah.
yes.
Thanks, you
Well,
guys, for doing this. This is so good. I know
yeah.
people got a lot out of it. I was loving the first part that I was listening to. You guys are amazing.
Aw, thank
So glad to see you two on live together. I've been waiting for this.
Aw, appreciate
yeah, we'll
you.
do more. We'll do more. We'll
Yes.
schedule it.
I'm down.
Awesome.
I'm down.
All right,
Mwah,
girlie.
mwah.
Love you.
Enjoy
guys.
that jackfruit.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
everyone.
See ya.